You know I make you feel good. And don't you wanna feel good, good, good? Sometimes I wish that we could go back before you got hurt, hurt, hurt. When before I was scared, now I'm feeling prepared. Don't you wanna feel good? Don't you wanna feel good, good, good?
When you say you were leaving, I thought that you meant it. I played the victim, you start as indifferent. Hindsight comes standard with rose-colored lenses. Hate to admit it, you're better off. Now you're too afraid to look, too scared to miss it. We're night and day, solar eclipses. Too afraid to look, too scared to miss it. We're night and day, solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses.
Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started.
Maybe feelings change, I can remember all the reasons why we've been separate ways. Feeling all alone in your company, keeping you captive with your chains.
We're night and day, solar eclipses. Too afraid to look, too scared to miss it. We're night and day, solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses.
Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again.
Tomorrow we build. Depends on the future we want, we can make it as real. Maybe we will go, give up the ego. Making it feel good. Too scared to just let it go. Too scared to just let it go. Tomorrow we build. Depends on the future we want, we can make it as real. Maybe we will go, give up the ego. Making it feel good. Too scared to just let it go. Too scared to just let it go.
Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again. We get started again. We get started.
everybody? Welcome back here to another stream of UTD Sports. Today we're going to be looking at our League of Legends team. Now, today's situation is a little interesting, Max. We got a funny little mishap that's happened across two different leagues. So we're currently playing in CLoL and in NECC. And today we are lined up to play the same team in both leagues back to back. So CLoL's format right now is currently just a best of 1. And for NECC, we're going to be playing a best of 3. And this is all against Aquinas College. So we're going to be in for quite a few games tonight. And it's all going to be against, it's the same team matchups both ways through. I think that's pretty funny that this just happens to line up so perfectly across two different leagues. I'm sure they did some scheduling of like, if we're all going to be playing at the same time, why not just play on the same day? But I just think it's really funny that this is the week that they're supposed to end up playing against each other. So going over often records right now, for CLoL, both UTD Esports and the Aquinas College teams are 3-0. So they're even record. They're both at the top of their group in Group H, and they'll be playing to see who's going to be the new first place contender, right? Someone's going to lose. And then looking at the NECC group, I believe UTD Esports is 3-1, while Aquinas College is 3-0. So they do have a slightly better record there, but they also have one less game played. We'll just have to wait and find out how this is looking. But what are your feelings on this matchup so far, Max?
Well, looking at the OP.GG, it definitely it's looking interesting. I think that Aquinas looks to probably be wanting to play a little bit bot side heavy, seeing as they have their master players on the bot side of the map, whereas I think UTD matches up pretty well with that because UTD has a very strong bot side, and so it's definitely gonna be a battle one in the bot lane. I think the top laners both like playing these tanky sort of wait in lane, wait to team fight champs. So we're gonna have to see how that bot lane war of attrition goes. And if you look at the junglers, Hukiri, the UTD jungler, likes to play a lot more style picks. The Lee Sins, the Viegos, those type of champs. Whereas the Aquinas jungler typically likes to play the tank engage, Maokai, Trundles. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Yeah,
I think the map presence between the two different types of junglers is going to be super important to how the rest of the lanes play out too, besides bot. I mean, bot side, of course, matters a lot too, right? But if you're going for, let's say, level 2, level 3, like mid gank, and you got both your junglers pulling out, right? Your tank engage has a lot of potential to like secure that early kill versus those kind of those style junglers that might need their ultimates or might need to a bit more ability points, a bit more items to really get that going. I mean, like a level 3 Viego, sure, he can land that W stun, and then what? How is he getting in, right? How is he pushing everyone back? How is he creating those like dueling situations that he would need with something like a Heartbreaker, his ult? So very curious to see how the jungle presence is going to stack up, right? Top lane, we're going to see the standard, tanks are always going to be up there. That's going to be pretty normal. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy up top. Jungle and mid is going to matter a lot. Of course, besides the aforementioned bot lane. I'm very personally curious in the jungle and mid matchups. But I mean, once we head on over to draft, we can get a better idea of what characters and what champs we'll be looking at from both sides and what their priorities are on banning things out too. So it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air. And the big thing here is since we're playing against the same team multiple times, there's a lot of potential for adaptation and back and forth. Like that mind game will persist just beyond the simple laning phase, the team fighting, the macro within one game. Now you're carrying that over to multiple games. You're making reads and patterns about players from one game to the next, being like, oh, they did this last game. Is this something that they might do again? Or maybe is that a bait? Is that a fake out? Champ-wise, oh, they pull up this one kind of interesting unconventional pick that actually worked really well for them last time. Do we want to ban this out? Or since we still won that game, do we want to keep that slot open and just let it cause trouble for us and see how we're going to work it out? I really love the game-to-game adaptations. It's really fun to keep a pulse on and see how both teams are adapting moment to moment.
It's going to be super interesting because, I mean, if imagine one team loses the first best of 1, then the first game of the best of 3, it's going to be pretty tough to bounce back and try to win those 2 games after. I mean, the mental there is going to be tough.
That's right. Yeah, it is interesting that the first game played is the best of 1. So that's both teams kind of feeling each other out. And then suddenly, dang, that's results right there for one of the leagues that you're competing in, right? For CLoL, that best of 1 is everything. And then the BO3 starts pulling in. We get a lot more information, a lot more time, and that's for NECC. So it's kind of interesting to put the one league, the BO1 decider first, and then have the BO3 come after. I think to not stress myself out as much, I would rather play the BO3 first. But I mean, I'm not the one competing, so they'll have to figure it out for better or worse. Whoever can get the read faster, whoever can get their momentum swinging faster, is going to get a pretty huge boon in terms of your circuit performance with the best of 1 coming first.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think that the the best of one after would also introduce some pretty funny scenarios where one team wins 2-0. You know, don't get to play that third game, and then you're just super tilted.
Straight
having
into
to-
the BO1, yeah.
to the BO1.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess after this BO1, the other team still feels like they had a fighting chance. And that
Yeah.
was just one game.
The warm-up.
Right. We got time. This is still another best of 3 set to play. The back and forth, the trade-offs both ways. Yeah, it's a conundrum to be stuck in. But I mean, it's not really the decision anyway. It's just the organizers. Although, I guess they could decide for themselves. You know, if they're supposed to schedule the matches around this time, they can both kind of shift a little bit. And if they wanted to, they could have played the BO3 first. So I'm sure there's some intentional decision making where I want playing the BO1 first. And I think your reasoning makes a lot of sense now that I think about it, right? BO3's played out, team goes out 2-0, let's say, then they're just tilted and they still have to play one more BO1. It's like, man,
Consolation match doesn't really feel
that
like
kind
you
of
wanna
sucks.
be there.
Yeah, you're just like, well, guess I have to play this out. But with the BO1, there's still hope. You know, like it's a blow, and you know you're dropping that CLoL game, but you still have the next circuit to play on too, and it's still a best of 3 there. Potential and hope both ways. I can see it.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to kick it to a break and come back whenever draft comes around.
Okay, sounds good. We'll see you guys soon.
I take it as a compliment. I should know I can be a weapon. I can be a weapon.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We've pulled on here to the first draft of UT Dallas versus Aquinas College. First ban now here is on deck. This is going to be the first of many arduous banning phases between these two teams. So right here, they're only working off of previous information based on games already played in the past or maybe op.gg's. And then as we progress throughout the multiple games of tonight, they will be making a lot more adaptive changes in banning. And that's going to change a lot here on Team Comp side. But already we're starting off with the Shen out on UTD side, cleaning up that top lane a little bit. We got the Yuumi ban here from Aquinas College, and then back to UTD for the Silas ban. What do you think about these bans so far, Max?
Well, it seems like the Yuumi ban is to try to stop the UTD jungle support from swapping. They tend to do that a bit, and whenever the jungle swaps to support, he tends to want to play Yuumi. So it seems like they're trying to snuff out the bot lane as much as they can and make it try to make UTD a little uncomfortable.
That's fair. Yeah, we see the Caitlyn ban too, which we saw UTD pulling out last week.
Yeah.
To great success.
Yeah, look dominant.
Yeah, very, very dominant success from last week. So it's good to get that out of the way. I completely understand. Set ban here from UTD side. And then we got a Maokai ban, which I believe you were talking about earlier off camera.
Yeah.
Expecting a Maokai ban from either side early on. And now we're getting a Nasus pick from Aquinas College's side to counter pick up against the Ornn from UTD. So again, we were kind of talking about these tanks are going to play their more slow farming lane and then have their mid to late game utility in whatever fashion or form. So UTD's top lane actually does like a lot of Nasus himself.
Yeah.
He plays a good amount on his own, but this time around opts to go for the Ornn, which is also another standard top lane pick. Doesn't hurt at all. We've seen some great plays on his Ornn as well. And now having Azir to match, blind picking that mid slot. Having a couple of bans out from UTD side. Looks like they're kind of concerned with mid, so maybe Aquinas College just wants to get their mid pick out of the way as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I think the Ornn pick is something that UTD's going to probably fall on a lot more often now, because you're going to want to hyperscale that late game comp if you're going to be playing bot side. So picking the Ornn, getting those ornaments is extremely vital. And I liked the Nasus pick from Aquinas, but they ended up not locking it in. But I think the hover was interesting because, you want to answer hyperscale with hyperscale, so they do pick the Azir, which scales pretty dang well, and they do pick the Sejuani, which should also scale pretty well, even though she's a tank. And if we look at UTD's next pick, they're going to go for the Aphelios, and that does seem like a pretty common pick for Deathly. So the Aphelios Victor, pretty standard hyperscaling champs, and it's a pretty typical UTD draft so far. I think that they are probably going to be looking to play bot side again. And I'm interested to see what Aquinas picks, because they can either counterpick top here, or they can opt to get prio on some sort of bot lane pick, since I know they are playing bot. They are going to probably take that prio pick for Jinx.
Yep. We saw Jinx as early on the OP.GG here from Aquinas' side. From their AD carry play was playing a bunch of Jinx and doing wonderful in a bunch of games. So I was potentially thinking Jinx might be on the chopping block for a ban. Turns out she's still open here. We got the pick there from Aquinas College up against the Aphelios from UTD's side in the bot lane. So that creates a pretty exciting matchup, because it feels like both players are probably pretty comfortable on the champs that they're picking here. And it seems like, as you said before, both teams are looking to play for that bot side. So if they're both kind of getting those situations that they would want to play in a bit more ideal. I mean, we haven't seen UTD support just yet, nor have we seen Aquinas support too. So the combination, that duo, the 2v2 in bot lane, is gonna ride the momentum a lot of what comes in the future for both teams, for the rest of at least this game, and potentially even for future games.
Yeah, I mean, 30 minutes ago, the Aquinas ADC played Jinx and went 10-2-3. Maybe he's feeling himself a little bit. Decided to give it a try. But the next bans that are coming out are all jungle-focused bans. The Jarvan ban is definitely interesting from UTD. Maybe they're assuming it's Sejuani top and not jungle. But yeah, jungle and support bans, probably trying to take away that the Renata, just so whenever Jinx gets mind controlled, she isn't melting down the closest person to her.
That's fair.
But the Jarvan ban, they're looking to take away the engaged tanks. Maybe I know that the Aquinas jungler likes to play a lot of Trundle, so I think maybe they might be trying to force him onto the Trundle, because maybe they think that Aphelios Victor can deal with him. I know they have a decent amount of kite, and we'll see in 2 seconds what this ban is, or it's going to be a no ban. It's going to be Udyr, so another tank. Yeah, it looks like they might be trying to force him onto that Trundle.
Wow, these eliminating picks here from both Jarvan and Udyr to kind of narrow down the available cross picks across both, whether it be jungle or tops, because Sejuani could flex to either. And so having kind of bans to cover both and then narrow down what the other side could flex to is pretty smart here from UTD's end. And now Aquinas is going to roll into our next pick. It's going to be the Aatrox.
So it was Sejuani jungle.
Yeah, looks like it. Or it could have been flexed to it.
It could have been.
And then they're now playing based off the bans of what's available left and pick the Aatrox. Aatrox, another great top lane contender currently.
Yeah.
So not uncommon by any means. How do you feel about the Aatrox Ornn matchup up top?
Well, I don't know about the Aatrox Ornn matchup, but I know that Aatrox is scary right now. That champ is dominating everything from bronze lobbies to worlds right now. That champ is absurd. I know he's going to be getting some bans soon, but I mean, I've been seeing, someday looking like a complete menace to society 1v9 champion trying to get NA their first win. Hopefully that Aquinas top laner can try to replicate some of that. But we see the Lilia coming out from UTD's jungler, and I think Lilia is pretty good into Sejuani and Aatrox, because Aatrox is pretty good at locking people down, but only if he can get their movement speed low enough. If if you have increased movement speed, it's really hard for Aatrox to actually do anything. Especially also now that you have that Lulu, they're going to be able to power up whoever they target, or whoever Aquinas targets, and then kiting is the name of the game if you're UTD here. They have just a lot of like instant burst with this comp, so they're going to be trying to play on a razor's edge here, whereas the Aquinas comp is a little bit more straightforward front to back. Let Jinx Azir do the damage. Let the engaged champs engage. And it looks like Aquinas is probably going to be locking in. Yep, an engage front-lining support.
Yep.
There we go.
We have our Thresh here. So we got Aphelios Lulu versus Jinx and Thresh in the bot lane. I'm thinking Aquinas is going to be trying to play pretty aggressive and push Aphelios and Lulu off as much as they can and threaten with the hook, threaten with the Jinx W, get as much poke down, try to push away from as much farm as possible. That's going to be a bloodbath in the bot lane. I'm also personally very curious about the top here with the Ornn Aatrox, two big champs, two of the big like hallmarks of the top lane currently that are looking to try to gain some sort of advantage, but I feel like Aatrox is not necessarily your traditional tank that Ornn might be more of, right? Ornn's just going to walk in there, apply a lot of CC, be really disruptive. But Aatrox is kind of plays the field more of like a bruiser type feel, where it's like he's got some CC on him, right? He's got 3 Qs in their respective knockups. And he's got some soft CC too with his W and the pull in, but there's a lot of mobility, a lot of damage output potential for him too, just trying to stay alive and be obnoxious, like this kind of gnat in the front of your team that you can't quite get him off, right? So much lifesteal, so much health recovery, pop his ult, get all of that back. But yeah, there's a lot to see there too with the Ornn and Aatrox up top lane. Also, we can't forget about our mid lane here too, Azir and Victor. So you mentioned the kind of front to back damage dealing versus the more like burst and kite type thing that we're looking at from UTD's end here. So I think Victor definitely plays a lot into that kind of keep that distance, keep kite away, right? Throw out the cage, right? You can use that boosted movement speed, shield yourself. Laser apply some damage, but definitely Azir has more of that sustained instant, like a lot of damage to play throughout a team fight, right? Soldiers are all out. You want to stream a shuffle, get people right behind and just kind of unload as much as you can. How do you feel about that laning phase between the two there, though? Early on, what do you think we'll be looking at?
I think that it's probably going to be a handshake lane. I don't think that either of them really... I mean, if they can get the advantage on the other, obviously they're going to take it, but I don't think that the resources will be put much into there. I think that that lane for both teams is probably more ideal if they just handshake it. But I think the bot lane is where the game will be made and broken, because... UTD has drafted a more reserved bot lane, but with a more aggressive AD carry. And Aquinas has drafted a super aggressive bot lane, where if you get hooked, you're getting chain CC'd until next year. Yep. We'll see you in the next game kind of thing. But it's going to be a super interesting bot lane. If UTD can survive it, I think they're in a great position. Aquinas is definitely going to be looking to take some advantages there. They're going to try to be as aggressive as possible in their early game. And super interested. And also the jungle pick, Lilia. Lilia is super interesting. I think Lilia is a very good champion. Haven't seen it much in like higher skilled competition. I haven't watched or seen it much in pro play. But I think it's one of those champions that, high mobility champs are always going to be super fun to watch, especially when you put it on a great player like Yu Jung-Hoo Lee. Yeah.
Big fan.
big fan, not biased.
No bias, no sir.
But going into Sejuani, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually make a huge difference. I know that Liandry's demonic burn can do a lot to those tanks, but I'm wondering if when it comes to late game, if that'll actually be enough, because Sejuani's going to have 4,000 health, something crazy like that.
Right. So with that early game kind of gank pressure we're looking at here compared from Lilia to Sejuani, I think Sejuani seems to be a bit more of a threatening presence.
Oh yeah.
Kind of that early on, right? The ganks are a lot more consistent, a lot more prevalent, while Lilia is going to be, especially approaching that mid game to late game, like crazy annoying poke and huge damage output. But the early game threat and presence, it's more of a roll of dice there, I feel, compared to Sejuani. He's got the consistency. I'm going to be an engaged tank jungler, just let's unload damage, right? Alongside someone like Azir in the mid lane, I think they can make plays happen there too. But with the bot lane, they already have Thresh, they already have Jinx with the potential for hard CC. They're great callouts. Having Sejuani come in on like a great play where Aphelios doesn't really have great disengage on his own, and where Lulu is going to have to pretty much just insta ult him and hope they can walk away for free. There is a lot of kill potential here, I think, coming from Aquinas' side onto UTD, so they'll definitely have to be super afraid of that, super scared. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll wait out the rest of draft actually being picked and the 3-minute spectator delay. So we'll be seeing you guys very soon. Don't go anywhere. This match is going to be fantastic. See you on the flip side.
We on the top and we ain't gonna fall. It's an obsession, a habit you call. We hitting automatic, never stall. Only got one tactic, do it all. I'm from the bottom, I hate what I saw. I couldn't walk, so I learned how to crawl. They wanna talk when you're back to the wall. So I say later, my aim moving small. Money grows from my intuition. I just bought a crib, that's my first edition. People hate it when you claim a vision, but I use a static when I hit ignition. Hungry moves, I'm faster in a minute. I stay fresh to death, I'm in a mint condition. Forge a heat, no matter where I've been, and give me any place, and it'll be a kitchen. This how we flow to the top. I'm on a wave and it never gon' stop. I hit a 3, now we running the clock. 24 seconds, I still block your shot. I'm making this an eternal spot. Permanent stain in the flow, ink blot. Don't step to me when I get too hot. I'ma end your life and it's all you got. We on the top and we ain't gonna fall. It's an obsession, a habit you call. We hitting automatic, never stall. Only got one tactic, do it all. I'm from the bottom, I hate what I saw. I couldn't walk, so I learned how to crawl. They wanna talk when you're back to the wall. So I say later, my aim moving small. Homemade flow, I'm a PVC. There ain't one player out doing this like me. Heart rate froze, check the EKG. I hate wasting time, no eventually. Routine work when nobody see, but I ain't feel the stress, I know it's meant to be. 30 beats, I'm on a killing spree. I made every song in my discography. Yeah, that's every cent, every dollar. I ain't tryna listen to a broke scholar. Making moves to make the money taller. To the cash topping on the Eiffel Tower. Labels calling, I won't wear the collar. With my own drive, I can take it farther. Do it myself, don't ever bother. Been self-made now, shout out to my father. We on the top and we ain't gonna fall. It's an obsession, a habit you call. We hitting automatic, never stall. Only got one tactic, do it all. I'm from the bottom, I hate what I saw. I couldn't walk, so I learned how to crawl. They wanna talk when you're back to the wall. So I say later, my aim moving small.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here we are hopping into the first game here. So just as a reminder, this first game is the best of one played for CLoL of UT Dallas versus Aquinas College. But then after that, there's also going to be a best of 3 that applies to NECC. So this is the beginning of a pretty big, long set here against the same team. So just keep it up. But yeah, we're hopping in here to game 1 for CLoL. We've got our early starting, pretty safe so far. Lulu's still in the base.
Lulu's still in the base, considering which support item to get. It sometimes is a very hard decision on Lulu. Do you go for Spell Thief's Edge or nothing at all? This game he went to Spell Thief's Edge. So pretty standard rune setup. Yoshiwi, Ornn, Grasp of the Undying, pretty normal. Conqueror on the Aatrox, pretty normal. I'm not entirely sure if Conqueror Lilia is the build right now. I haven't played Lilia in a while, so I'm just not sure. It seems like it'd be pretty good. But
Hukari potentially walking into Aquinas, but nothing too hard on the commitment.
Oh, so it's Hukari on
support.
On support.
Yeah.
Okay,
They did go for the role swap again. We have B-Barrel on
Lilia.
jungle, on Lilia, and then we have Hukari on Lulu in the bot lane.
Very, very interesting. So they took away his Yuumi, and then he decided it was Lulu time. And he did go for the summon Ares, so they're just going to be playing a little bit back. And going to try to see if they can sustain the lane enough to where they can scale up and get some good damage in later in the game. And Jinx looked like she started longsword instead of the like pretty normal Dorn's blade, so she's going to try to be getting that early item as soon as possible. And it looks like UTD is doing a pretty good job of trying to get them off the wave a bit, get them a little bit uncomfortable, get some poke damage in with the Lulu. I know Lulu early game poke is actually pretty oppressive, like pre-level 3. And then the top matchup going pretty normally. It looks like Ornn has a little bit of an advantage, but once that wave crashes, that should even out just a little bit. And then, yeah, in the bot lane, that's a 10-4 advantage already for UTD. I mean, wow. Might be a little bit of a stacked wave, but we'll see how the Jinx can do farming under a little bit of pressure under tower.
Yeah, it's a little different than what I was, I guess, super expecting out of the early game from both sides, but it makes sense that once you factor in Lulu's stronger than average perk early on. Okay, there is an early hook already pulled into tower, so we have to burn a flash to stay safe. That's the scary part when you're dealing with Aquinas College's bot lane. Already the early presence is there. I was just about to mention, wow, UT's been doing a pretty good job poking out and laying down the damage onto Aquinas, and there is that one hook under tower. Bit of commentator's curse. That's great, and that's exactly what Aquinas College is going to continue on looking for. Now they're chilling under their own tower, trying to grab as much farm as they can, and eventually poke their way out on over to UTD. But I mean, the 80 carry from Aquinas College side has taken a lot more damage than intended. Meanwhile, definitely is doing just all right on UTD's end. So these early game trades, if they still want to try and fight this, will end up favoring UTD just a bit.
Yeah, and if we're looking at jungle clears, it looks like Sejuani opted to skip out on her Krugs, whereas Lilia took the full clear, and they both got one scuttle. So slight farming advantage to Lilia. She does have a bit of a faster clear, so she's going to opt for the back, while Sejuani is going to be trying to look for something top since she's level 4. And then the bot lanes both are taking their backs. Here we go in the top lane.
Up. We get the W in onto. He's going to get roped back in. She was just going to try to walk this off. Ornn's got the health to manage it after even burning that early dash away. He got knocked up with the Sejuani dash in. From there on, it's just left click to safety. Ornn's got enough health for it. He was able to walk out just fine, but he's going to be pushed off his wave. It's going to be Aatrox's time to recover some of that farm difference.
Yeah, Yoshiwi gonna burn the teleport, but he used the W at the right time to buffer the CC from the Aatrox W, giving him that ability to actually get out there. So that's really good for UTD. B-Barrel essentially got a free back there. He got to take the back while Sejuani is still going to actually clear the Krugs. So if you see, he's up a Dark Seal and an Amp Tome, whereas Sejuani is now just taking a first back. And it looks like UTD is going to be trying to make a play topside too. Right, gets spotted out by Vision.
Ooh, okay, big knock up here onto Aatrox. Lilia's trying to walk up. Aatrox going to walk past, going to flash and E overtake one tower shot, but he is deep in enemy territory. Victor is not in a position to walk up and try to close this out, so it's just Lilia applying as much damage as she can for Aatrox to be able to walk away. There is the Q and W to give him some distance, and he's going to dash away and make it. And now it's Yoshiwi's time to cover up some farm, but he's already grabbed so much of it, and so Aatrox is going to have to potentially burn TP of his own to try and match, or otherwise let Yoshiwi get away. The wave's going to be crashing here on a top side tower.
And in mid lane, the Azir's kind of been poking out the Azir as much as he can, making the dude super uncomfortable. But actually, the farm looks pretty even from both sides. So Victor doing a great job keeping up with the Azir. And in the bot side, Jinx actually caught up to Aphelios, and they're I guess a little bit down. They don't have the Doran's ring, so there's down 8 AD. So a little bit favored towards UTD, and I guess Thresh on the back didn't have enough for boots, so the dude is still just rocking nothing, just the steel shoulder guards. And B-Barrel might be in a little bit of a sticky situation here.
Right, he's going to try to fight his way out here from Sejuani. We have Azir walking up. There's the knock up, and he's stunned. Can he fight his way out? He's going to burn that flash, but Azir hops on over. Victor is here to try and help defend. Azir's got more health, but now he's putting out the big hurt from Victor's head. Ult's going to pop too, and there is going to have a flash out to try and keep himself safe too, and no one is going to drop for it. First kill, first blood, still on the board for either side.
Yeah, I think he tried to Shurima shuffle, but realized that Lilia passive kind of sped the Lilia up a little bit too much. Gets caught in an awkward place and has to flash out there. Not ideal as the mid laner, so a flash burn on both of their sides. If he had gotten that Shurima shuffle off, would have been crazy. Would have been a dead Lilia, no flash, really behind. But instead, Lily's just going to do her thing, go back to farming. And it looks like both junglers are pathing a little bit towards bot side, trying to get the better vision for this drag. It looks like that.
Ooh, there's a root onto Jinx, and we're going to get the flamethrower after big here, but we're going to use Lantern and Flash for Jinx to be able to get away. Ignite is still rolling, but I think she's going to be a walk away safe. That was a very fast decision. Oh, but there is a Shurima shuffle onto Grussel Grind, so Victor is caught, and Sejuani was right there to catch and help confirm that kill, and that's going to be first blood down off on UTD's end, and giving it to Thomas Aquinas here. Now they're going to have still no gold lead despite that, though. I was about to see, like, oh, okay, they got a goal lead here, but it's still looking really even here with even that first blood. So the CS differences are going to round up just a little bit. We got a bit in top side and a little bit in the bot and mid as well. So UTD's keeping themselves afloat. Good for this early game.
Yeah, and if we do a quick biscuit check, we can see that the bot side from UTD has 6 out of 6 biscuits still up, not using a single one the whole time. And then Orange still has one up, so very economical rune choices. But yeah, I think the gold lead. There's no real gold lead for Aquinas. They're actually down 200 gold, purely because there's just small advantages, like farming advantages that UTD has all across the board. And yeah, I think I mean, that's probably all it. Lulu probably has a little bit of extra. The fight going on in the mid lane.
Grindstone getting caught out in the mid lane again, dying not too long after his previous death. That is tough. Walking into lane and having the enemy jungler, they're sitting in that bot side bush, just walking up and applying the hard CC. So tough here. So now UTD is going to be down 2 kills. Both in the mid lane, but every other lane seems to be sustaining themselves just fine. We have Lilia on the dragon currently. No one from UT's side to help her out, and no one from Aquinas' side to contest.
Yeah, that first drag is going to go a long way for preventing, any sort of possible like early game aggression that Aquinas might be going for. If you're trying to hyperscale or stop hyperscale, you don't want the enemy team to have the drag. That's an extra 5 minutes without soul. So I think that, going into the later parts of the game, Aquinas really isn't going to want to give up these dragons like this. But I think they're willing to give up this first one probably just because they did get that advantage in mid lane. But, we'll have to see. We'll check in a little bit later to see if this is a good bet from them.
Right. Despite the kill difference in mid lane, we still have a UTD CS advantage, even beyond all the time that Victor has spent out of lane due to death timers. So that's something to keep in note for the mid lane matchup. Azir is probably going to have more individual gold, but Victor is still not quite out of the running just yet, and will probably intend to be playing safer to keep themselves alive. But as I say that, Aatrox comes in from the top side, gets pulled in, tries to hand the kill over to Aatrox. Sejuani was there to cover the bot side coverage too. Commentator's curse mentioned Victor's safety as he goes down. But in the meantime, we have a whole entire scuffle here in the bot lane where Lilia's going to go down to Thresh, but Aphelios is going to pick up a kill here onto Jinx. That's huge for the ADC kind of dynamic between both teams. That's pretty big for UTD.
Yeah, and luckily the kill onto Lilia does go onto the Thresh, so he's not, he gets probably an extra Kindle Gem there. He upgrades the Kindle Gem from Ruby Crystal, but it looks like the Herald's going to start to be taken from Aquinas here. They're only committing their mid jungle, so they're not rotating the bot lane up for it, which is pretty good, but it looks like Lulu has also rotated up, and there might be a fight here, but they just claim it. They're going to walk out, dash over the wall, call it a day, handshake it.
There was not a whole lot of immediate response from UTD's side. We had Aatrox fighting off Ornn, so Ornn couldn't quite come in to try and help out. It was just Lilia and Lulu mid, and bot were attending to their own lanes and their own waves, so there just wasn't a whole lot of damage output to really try and contest that Rift Herald.
Yeah, and in the bot lane, I think that kill has done a lot. Look, you have the uncomplete Kraken Slayer for Jinx, and then you have the completed Kraken Slayer for Aphelios, and it looks like he's actually up somehow a whole 1,000 gold from that, which is crazy. I don't know how he managed to do that. So he's up quite a bit, and then gold across the map. Then Azir's up, but we have a fight going on top side. Looks like nothing's going to happen because Ornn is huge and massive, so they're just going to handshake it and walk away. But back to the gold talk. So it looks like it evened out because Aphelios is up 1,000, and so is Azir, and then most other places are even with plus or minus 200, 300 gold difference.
That's right. We have some grouping here on the bot side. Lilia is coming up to play. There's going to be a hook from Thresh onto Lulu. Big damage being loaded up to Lulu, but Aphelios already trying to melt down this Thresh super early. We have a jump over to Thresh from Sejuani and puts out a big ult, and now UTD is on the defensive side trying to walk away after picking up that Thresh kill. But we do have Azir as well. He's going to jump over. Victor's a little too slow to rotate, but no one is going to get caught in the Azir ult, and Aquinas is going to have to disengage.
Yeah, a crazy cleanse from the Aphelios there. He barely got out of that Sejuani ult. Really saved himself from a lot of hurt there. But in the top side, it looks like the ult's going to get popped for the Aatrox, but he's not going to get that kill. He's just going to whittle him down, and Yoshiwi's probably just going to teleport back to lane and be fine, and then he's going to be at a super big advantage in the top lane. He's up 5 gold and a whole turret play. And then in the bot side,
we have a jump on over. A great movement there from Aphelios to not get caught by the Sej CC.
Yeah, he uses that Aphelios red Q, which gives him a little bit of movement speed to try to avoid that. And now the back is actually coming out because the Thresh hook missed, but yeah, they stop it and the fight breaks out.
Oh boy, we have mid and bot from both sides. We had Azir in a really, really rough spot, kind of in between UTD members, but he's going to be able to find his way out with jumping to a soldier, keeping himself safe, taking a lot of poke here from the Victor laser. UTD could be looking for something big here. They do have health advantage. There's going to be a hook from Thresh, and huge damage loading onto Bieber. Lilia's almost down, but Aphelios is trying to run it all the way back, melting so much off of Thresh. Still, no one has quite fallen. There is a Jinx ult fishing for something, and she put her overextended way too far, and she's going to go down, giving Aphelios a killing spree. Now they're looking for the Azir kill. There is the Victor laser. We're going to have Azir flash away to keep himself safe. That's pretty big for UTD. That's pretty big for UTD.
Yeah, huge to get back into that. They get the 1-for-0 there onto the Jinx, and putting that Jinx even more behind. She's already down 20 CS and 3 kills. That is going to be huge, like absolutely massive. Almost, you know, 1,700 gold lead. And that also means that Victor actually gets to pick up a assist. You know, that 50 gold to 120 whatever is not much to scoff at. He also might be getting this mid plate. So he's starting to claw his way back into the game. You know, Grussel grind set. He's on that grind right now, trying to make his way back into this one.
Right, it feels like beyond the early mid kills with Sejuani walking into lane and then getting kills off of Victor, for kind of these team fight situations, Azir hasn't really been able to make a play without Aphelios' presence being immediately felt and just getting melted with that damage output. Aphelios has got that marker straight onto Azir, but another thing is he also tries to melt Thresh super early. Right, Thresh is your engaged support, and he's supposed to be your tank, so Trish is like, oh, you're going to try to ignore him, let him live, go for the squishies. But Aphelios is like, nah, you know, I'm just going to unload as much damage as I possibly can, and you already see Thresh getting chunked to like 30%, and it's almost like he can't really be holdout useful anymore after you do that. Right, it's not like he can really afford going for another engage. He will absolutely die for that. And so Thresh isn't really looking for any crazy play like that. We're going to have Aquinas now try to go for the second dragon. UTD not really in position to contest, especially with Rift Herald being dropped down mid lane. So that's going to be a pretty safe drag here for Aquinas. And now we got equal dragons here, both sides.
Yeah, a great gold play from Aquinas. They're going to grab that mid turret and the dragon, and I don't think they got the charge off before plates went down. So, you know, not optimal. You know, they'd probably want to get that extra plate money, but oh no, they didn't actually get the whole turret. I don't.
Right, turret's still up.
Turret's still up. Okay, well. Yeah, not that great, but still, they got the dragon. You know, they're gonna want to get those drags. They need to get that soul as fast as possible. You know?
Right.
You know, they gave up that first one, and now they lost the bot side. So getting those drags is super duper important for trying to delay any sort of edge work that UTD is going to try to make out of this.
We got some lane swaps trying to get people to catch up on farm, right? Yoshiwi just an absolute monster in the bot lane, taking that tower. First tower here for UTD, and first tower of the game, pushing all the way up to tier 2, walking towards mid, trying to help defend or catch some farm off here. Well, we got a big scuffle here in the top lane as tower is going to go down. Aquinas doesn't quite want to challenge anything. They've got Aphelios on deck. He is powerful. Runons and Kraken Slayer 3-0 already. It's so hard to try and jump in on that Aphelios, especially with Lulu and Lilia around.
Yeah, and Kraken is such a huge buff onto Aphelios. I mean, he like actually turns into a completely different champ. So suddenly your purple gun, your gravitum is starting to hit multiple people, meaning your roots are more effective, and your blue, the flame gun, is, you know, now hitting multiple people, and that is just an absurd ability when it can hit a bunch of people.
Right, crazy amounts of AoE putting out damage with the flamethrower, and now couple that with an awesomely timed ult, and having the flames just dissipate all throughout while you're just shooting the flamethrower left and right. He becomes an AoE monster. Put down a couple of chakrams too, and have the turrets go down. You've got a whole mess.
Yeah, and like that last fight, he already built up those chakrams. He used the chakram ult to, you know, generate those, and he was walking around with 12, and that Azir flash because he was scared. That dude had like 12. He had like the max possible,
right?
And he was just walking at him. I was like getting antsy. I was like, I really want to see him just
one auto attack,
auto a guy once and take half of his HP bar. But hopefully we'll get to see that later. But
we're going to see UTD going for this second Herald here, and no challenging for Aquinas at all. Azir's showing up in the top lane, and we had a bit of bot side in mid. Jinx go for the back, trying to walk to map yet again. Potentially play here on the bot side. We do have Aatrox trying to push up on this tower, and Sejuani's also on the bot side blue side. Jungle camps taking those Krugs. But no play to be made yet. Kind of surprised that Aquinas isn't hard trying to challenge mid and at least try to nick off that mid tower just to get something on the board. While UTD's already got 2 towers here, Aatrox trying to fight, and Orin's going to be able to back away. Yeah, I'm kind of looking to see something bigger happen here in the mid lane for Aquinas' side, but they're content with just chilling and letting things play out as they do. Oh, but they got Sejuani in a tough spot here. We have Lilia here trying to close him out. We got the Ornn ult popping too. We're going to have an early flash there for Sejuani, so Ornn's just able to angle, and now she's asleep. Sejuani's taking so much damage, but there is the Thresh Lantern to get her out. UT burned a lot of resources there.
Yeah, a lot
to try
of resources.
to pick off that Sejuani, and weren't quite able to make it work. But, I mean, give it some time, and they'll be good to go again.
Yeah, but I didn't see if the Thresh earlier, did he burn his real flash, or was that his Hex flash over that river wall? Not too sure, but either way, he flashed over a wall to get to safety, so it did give UTD a lot of breathing room on the map to get vision. I mean, look at Lilia farming in the enemy jungle like it's his own, and the top side is pushing. Azir did get that first tower for Aquinas, so you know, we have this ebb and flow, and now UTD is going to get the back off on that Aphelios. He actually canceled it, so never mind. But we're looking to see if Lulu can get that Mythic completed. Yeah, and she ends up going for Shirelia's. So they are going to want to just speedball this and just run around and kite super fast and just be a complete nuisance of a comp. And, you know, Azir only gets one, like, reshuffle of his guys. He can only, like, move them once during a fight if it's a shorter fight. I mean, he can do it twice if it's an extended fight, but we got a fight in bot side.
We would jump in. Shurima shuffle here onto Victor. Grussel Granstead's going to flash over wall and walk away. Lulu trying here to defend. That was a hard commit there from Azir and Sejuani, and Victor thankfully did have flash up to keep himself alive. Immediately pops it and just walks away.
Yeah, he gets out of there very quickly. He does pop the ult and the flash, though, so not ideal. You know, traded the ults, but Azir still does have his flash, and I think his ult cooldown is just, it's a little bit shorter. So it's going to be up. Oh, it's not going to be up for Dragons. They're just going to take Drag now. I didn't realize it was already so close to Drag time.
They were really putting a lot of space and pressure around the bot side from UTD's end to kind of make sure that this pit was open, even like way before Dragon Timer was like a super big point of consideration. And now that Dragon is up and ready, they're already putting down the hurt in the mid lane, letting Lilia take it all on her own. This could be big here from Ornn onto Azir. Not quite. He's going to keep his distance, just poke it down. UT is going to look to burst this dragon before making any other plays anytime soon. All pathing towards mid. Probably looking to take this mid tower.
Yeah, UTD is super duper strong right now. They're
going for the engage with the Ornn ult. They are going to be able to catch Thresh here, and Thresh is going to try to fight his way out, and he's just going to get absolutely melted. That was an Ornn ult for a pick, but now we have Azir going in with the TP in as well. He flashes over. Is still not going to be able to land the ult to push people back, and now Aatrox is under a lot of fire, not able to get a hard engage, just poking AoE from a distance here from Jinx, while Aatrox and Azir have to disengage. This is looking pretty positive for UTD so far.
Yeah, looking great for UTD. They get that second dragon, they're going to be able to pressure this whole drag. I mean, they get now the kills are even, and they're going to pop the Lilia ult onto 2. They're in the back
sleep line. And big damage here onto Jinx.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of chakrams built up, so it doesn't do that much, but it's still you know, it still did like half.
She's not really gonna be able to like commit to any sort of team fight now. Honestly, they did enough poking where UTD can keep up their pressure, and Aquinas is kind of on their back foot damage-wise, but ooh, they're walking up hard. Looking for a big engage. Aatrox went in a little too deep, though. Thresh is back. Aatrox is down, and now damage is gone here. They're not really putting anything back onto UTD. Aquinas felt really confident having Thresh back in, but I feel like the rest of their team was too low. Big damage here putting onto Azir as well. Jumping here onto this tower. Crazy knockup onto Thresh as he goes down, and that's tier 2 tower is also down. Azir trying to put as much pressure as he can from a distance, but both Azir and Jinx are really low, and Sejuani is in no condition to engage. Aphelios pulls up with the chakrams. Be huge damage onto Azir as he goes down. We're going to have Herald proc onto potentially Nexus turrets here. After an inhib was taken too, UTD's pushing up so far, and Aquinas just walks up and has their team members mowed down bit after one by one. It's like they're not grouped to play any team fights at all. Ornal is right back up. One Nexus tower is gone. Most of the team is still here and alive. They're finally deciding to disengage after taking 3 towers, one of them being a Nexus tower and an inhibitor. Finally, do they decide to walk away?
Yeah, I got exactly what I wanted. I got Aphelios with a bunch of chakrams, just doing a bunch of damage to everyone in sight. It was amazing. This dude is a menace to society. He was walking in there like he owned the place. You know, they started engaging on the tower. They got the Shelly charge, and he was just acting like a completely different dude. Like, he walked in there, he just started swinging those chakrams. It was great. And, you know, a great amount of follow-up from Lilia, and that Lulu polymorph onto Aatrox to start off that fight was pivotal. I mean,
absolutely.
He got just knocked out of the fight early, and that's a lot of engagement, a lot of frontline for Aquinas down, and they just pushed that advantage to a whole inhibitor and a Nexus tower.
Exactly.
So a great play for UTD.
Sejuani was already low, and Thresh had just come back from full health. I feel like that was a bit of overconfidence from Aquinas' side. Like, oh, we got Thresh back. Let's just go in super hard.
Yeah.
Right? We had Aatrox is already watered down. Sejuani is kind of watered down. And Aatrox got mad bursted, too, when the polymorph started at the beginning of that refight, too. Not to mention, Jinx had already taken a good amount of damage, too. And then Azir was just getting chunked at that point. They didn't quite have the team formation, and it feels like they're more like sending people to die one-on-one, and that gave UTD so much cohesion and so much group pressure to push all the way to the Nexus.
Yeah, it seemed to be a little bit of a play of desperation there for Aquinas. I think they could see that this Aphelios was starting to scale, and they wanted to force any advantage they could possibly get. But now the teams are starting to posture towards Baron, trying to get the vision lines set up. As you can see, Aquinas has these has a lot of blue trinkets to try to, you know, not actually have to face check a bush where you're just gonna get instantly ulted.
He goes for the ult on the
Aphelios.
Graviton come. He's really, really thirsty for that Azir, but Azir's going to be a disengage. Yeah, this is a pretty deep play in from UTD. They were kind of creating their position around Baron. But so far, they caught Sejuani off in a really bad spot. She's going to flash. We have Ornn sitting in the front. Here's an Ornal. How many are we getting with this knockup? There's at least one, and Aatrox going to go down while UT's trying to follow up here on the rest to both Azir. Put so much damage output to Victor, but not quite able to take the fight. He's going to ult away, but not before he's going to go down. UT's trying to flash over the Azir wall and clean up the rest of the team here. Big damage onto Thresh while Jinx still lives. They're walking up to this tower. And Aphelios is melting Thresh there. And Jinx is going to go down. This is going to be game 1 going to UTD as they take down this Nexus tower and then the Nexus, taking this best of 1 in CLoL over Aquinas College.
UTD doesn't want the Baron. They want the base. They want the Nexus. Game 1 of this, you know, at least 3-game series goes to UTD, and that's the CLoL game towards UTD.
Yeah, that was fantastic. At first, when I saw them setting up around Baron, I'm like, oh, you know, they're going to go for the standard Baron play. They've got lead. They're going to be winning team fights anyway. There's not really a good position for Aquinas to challenge, right? Inhib is down. When entire Nexus tower is down, too. Super, super risky spot for Aquinas. And even those early UTD catches, like we saw the super, like in their Aphelios ult, trying to get the ground onto Azir, and it really didn't end up taking anywhere. If anything, the big play there was actually catching the Sejuani off guard as everyone kind of meshed right back into mid lane. And as that happened, Ornn was able to just pop the ult straight down mid, pick up another kill, and then just try to follow up on the rest, right? And Azir got a little greedy himself. Yeah. He was like, oh, I'm low health. I'm actually much lower health than this Victor, but what if I try and burst him down? He tried, he failed. Okay, let me get out. Like Thresh Lantern, I can E away, but the rest of the team was already ready to follow up at this point. Aphelios is up in their face, and even though Azir tried to push him off with an ult, he was already dead at that point, and then it was just Jinx and Thresh. Not much that they can do 2v5 as UTD walks up to close that out. That Baron call, rather the lack thereof, trying to path straight to base is super aggressive, but I mean, it worked out in the end. That was honestly a fantastic play. I think UTD had the follow-ups lined up. Even if the Ornn ult didn't necessarily land on the most people, right? And even if the Aphelios ult didn't really amount to much, ultimately Aphelios on his own stood so strong. And a couple of greedy plays there from the opposing side put UTD at a fantastic position to take that game here for CLoL. So
yeah, you could see that
for them.
The conviction from the Aphelios there. I know he was in the comms saying, "Hey, this dude is caught out. I rooted him. Can we just 5-man dive him?" And that's what you need that conviction that let's go now. This guy's out of position now. Let's punish it now. And it just, ended up blowing the whole game open.
Right. Even if that punish didn't quite work up, then you got the Sejuani's out of position. Onto her.
Yep.
And at that point, then the rest of the team just fell apart one by one. It almost feels like these team fights aren't really team fights. It was mostly a lot of Aquinas trying to fight in a group. Oh, no, never mind. We're actually losing this fight. Let's all disengage together and then just get picked off one by one. I never saw them go all in and try to get as much as they can. It's more engage, oh, whoops, disengage, and then get picked off until the game's over at this point, right? And that's going to be first game going to UTD. So that was a great game to watch there. Aphelios was putting in mad work, crazy damage. I think it was a deathless game for him. He was absolutely chilling. Great stuff there to Deathly for cleaning up that game there in the bot lane. And congrats to UTD for taking that game here for CLoL. But they're not done playing Aquinas College just yet, because now we've got an NECC best of 3 up against the same team. So we'll jump right back to you guys when that stuff gets going, but we're going to be hopping to a break. Don't go anywhere. This is only the beginning.
feel good? And don't you wanna feel good, good, good? Sometimes I wish that we could go back before you got hurt, hurt, hurt. When before I was scared, now I'm feeling.
All right, everybody, here we are, jumping right back here to our drafts. This is going to be game one of the best of three in NECC. If you missed out on what just happened before, UTD took the best of one over Aquinas College for the CLoL circuit. Pretty astoundingly, right? Early game was looking decently even, right? We always had a farm lead for UTD, but we got those early kills on from Aquinas' end. But as we approached that mid game, and especially towards that late game, Aphelios' presence was just too strong to not be felt, and Aquinas did not really have an answer to match it. But so far, our bans are looking exactly identical.
Oh yeah,
to last game.
Like same order, same champs, same everything, same blue side for UTD. I don't know how UTD managed to angle blue side 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I'm not gonna complain.
I guess they have
their first
yeah,
pick in
there's
the orange.
This is actually, I feel like I'm living Groundhog Day or something. This is the exact same.
The salty run back.
Are we going to see the Nasus hover into a 0 first blind pick? No, I don't think so. I think Aquinas College will actually, I'm not too surprised to see UTD try to go for the same thing, right? Whatever they've got pretty consistently seems to work for them. This is where Aquinas wants to change, but never mind. I guess they did want to first pick Azir. There's no way they pick Sejuani here.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
They said back to the drawing board, but they lost the drawing board, so they back to the same draft as last
They're
time.
actually drafting and this is beat for beat, position for position. Shen, Silas, set bans, right? Yubi, Caitlyn, Maokai bans, Ornn pick into Azir Sejuani pick into potential Aphelios pick, because that is what happened last time too. There's no way it's going to be this lined up, right?
Show me Victor, please. Show me Victor after this Aphelios. I'll be a happy
Maybe Russell
man.
Grindset had some issues about the way last game. Maybe he wants to play someone else. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. There's an Ari. There's something new. He's gonna swap to Victor, isn't he?
Dude, it'd be perfect if he swapped to Victor. But yeah, I mean, he probably wasn't too happy about the way the matchup worked, and I think he gets the extra mobility from Ari. Nope, never mind.
Goodness.
He baited us. We're going.
You have to be
salty
kidding
run back.
me. You have to be kidding me. Okay. It's fine. Just breathe. Go next. I forgot who Aquinas even picked here as the third slot.
I'm sure they're gonna remind us.
Oh my goodness. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping to be throwing a curveball here. Aatrox was 4th pick, I think.
Aatrox was 4th pick. So
Here
Jinx,
was Jinx. Yeah, right. He was Jinx. I mean, their ADC player was good on Jinx, though. They like Jinx. Okay.
We're
just thinking of
switching it
Varus.
up.
Finally, our first difference in the game. Now, is it going to be a Kindred ban? Because that's what we saw last time.
Yeah, I think that I'm not entirely sure if Bibero plays a lot of Kindred. They might have been angling those bans more towards Hukiri in the jungle. But yeah, I think the Varus pick offers a little bit more range for Aquinas, even though Aquinas, I mean Jinx has that kind of range that they had. I think the Varus Q is looking to get a little bit more poke, so he doesn't have to like really engage or try to play a game. He can just sit back and really let loose. But the Renata ban does come out again from Aquinas. You know, they skipped out on the Kindred ban
This time.
or maybe not.
There's the Jarvan.
The Jarvan ban,
Same position.
bans.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting so much deja vu right now.
They're gonna opt for the Lulu instead of the Kindred ban.
That's smart. That's smart.
I think the Kindred ban is okay. I mean, if you're playing, you know, Azir, Sejuani, or Azir and Varus do both outrange Kindred until Kindred has a bunch of stacks late game. So, I mean, I'm not sure what their Kindred ban was first time, but, you know, the Lulu ban does make a lot of sense because those are some great polymorphs and some great ultimates. I think it's called Wild Growth.
Right.
But we are probably going to, we see the Aatrox ban come out, so we're going to have a different top matchup. I think Ornn was fine with the matchup, but maybe it offered a little bit too much CC for Aquinas. He does also have the Shen ban. His next most played champ, other than Set, is Irelia. I would like to see an Irelia or a Darius. He does have some Darius games. I think those would both be super, super interesting to see here.
Oh, we got another hook-based engaged support with Nautilus here. So we got Varus Nautilus compared to the Jinx Lulu. What was it? No, Jinx Thresh last time, not the Lulu. I feel a little mixed about this opposing bot lane here for Aquinas' end compared to what we had last time. I feel like Varus is pretty good for like that sustained poke. We're getting a Tom Kench here.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Tom Kench would offer UTD a lot of peel, especially since Nautilus is just a crazy good engaged champ. I mean, he does an absurd amount of damage early game. So that Tom Kench does offer a little bit of flexibility for Aphelios to maybe be a little more fast and loose level 6, because I do think that level 6 is pretty dangerous for your UTD into Varus Nautilus.
That's true. That's true. Once both have got their crazy roots and like knockups on deck, right? If you get hooked by a Nautilus or even just walk up, and one thing that I'd like to see Nautilus do a lot is walk up and then just auto root with passive and save the hook when they try to disengage, right? But you can just auto root, right? Have an ult to pop people up. You have the Varus to just throw out the root, and that lasts a long time.
Yeah.
With that R, so that 2v2 could get really, really rough once you approach level 6. But pre-6, I feel like there's not going to be... I mean, there's still a good amount of pressure to be applied with Varus poke, but I feel like once Nautilus tries to quote-unquote all in with that hook and get the auto root after, Varus doesn't have the greatest follow-up all the time. He'll just kind of be sitting back and autoing, getting those W stacks up, and then popping them with a Q or something. And that could be crazy burst damage, but it doesn't seem like it's a... Like, Varus is another character that doesn't have a lot of mobility on his own either, and just tries to apply a lot of hard CC with his ult and tries to walk away from stuff and or slow people down with his E. So I don't know if he's like the most quick on the draw to try to have the greatest follow-ups here onto Nautilus. So I think it kind of creates a different bot lane situation. But we're going to be looking at a Trundle pick here at the end from Aquinas College. So across Trundle, Sejuani, and then we also have Ornn Vi in the jungle here from UTD's end. Do you imagine that there'd be suddenly a Sedge top and Tron jungle? Or are we looking at the probably Sejuani jungle and then Tron top, right?
Oh,
deal with the Ornn here?
I think it's probably Sejuani top and Trundle jungle, because it seems probably something they're a little bit more comfortable on. Recently, the top laner from Aquinas has played Trundle. I mean, not Trundle. Aatrox and Sejuani.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
he seems to be kind of ready for this sort of flexing. I think that's probably their game plan going into this, is to just pick Sejuani early, flex it top if they think they have a better jungle matchup. But I do really like UTD's draft here because, for one thing, it is just so incredibly easy to execute. I think the hardest to execute champ on that team is probably Aphelios, maybe Tom Kench. But I mean, you have Vi, Ornn, and Victor, who are all, relatively speaking, straightforward champs, especially Vi.
Yeah, especially Vi.
Q in, then press R.
Yeah.
And auto a bunch. Especially
Big
with
CC.
Halo Blades, you're going to be doing a lot of percentage health damage, which is going to be really good into Trundle, Sejuani, and Nautilus. That's going to be pumping out a lot of damage very quickly. I think that Halo Blades on her is just a crazy amount of damage very quickly.
Wow, super, super exciting. We'll see where these comps take us into here to this next game of Aquinas versus UT Dallas. We'll throw it over to a break until you hop into the next game. Don't go anywhere or you'll miss the action.
Go on, myself. I'm cold steel stainless. My glass half full. Always said don't suffer no fools. Serpents, they dream. I bite, you call me lovely. Got a sweet tooth. Gonna get the sugar from you. When they say I'm a machine gun, I take it as a compliment. Honey, you should know I can be a weapon. I can be a weapon. Come cold blood, selfish. Your words are painless. I like when I drive and feel so dangerous. They say I'm a red flag, 'cause they want it so bad. You should know I'm holding on to what I have. When they say I'm a machine gun, I take it as a compliment. Honey, you should know I can be a weapon. I can be a weapon.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here we are to game one of this best of three. It's UT Dallas versus Aquinas College for NECC. Super exciting here. Most of the team comp is the same from last game on UT Dallas' side. And we got, at least our early picks from Aquinas were also the same, but then we finally got a lot more team and roster variations later in the draft. So I'm curious to see how that will end up changing the way this all plays out. What are your key things you're keeping an eye on? Of course, you're very much interested in bot lane.
Yeah.
But what else do you think we could be kind of expecting to make some big presence here?
Well, I think the Vi pick is super duper interesting here purely because Vi is a pretty easy to execute champ, and I think most of the time if you think you're a better team, there's no real reason to go for these picks that are hard to execute. If you just think you're gonna win, might as well play the Vi, where you don't have to be playing on like this Razor's Edge, where you can just Q in, R in, and get some very good damage in. And then, we saw the level 1 invade. I think that early game, Aquinas does have a much better comp, especially level 1. Aphelios is not a champ, but the Fright's baking out in bot side, just some poke going back and forth. the Nautilus does have Glacial Augment, so he's gonna be able to slow him down a bit, which is gonna be a little bit scary, seeing if Varus can get those Blight stacks onto Aphelios.
Right. There is the Sejuani top, as you mentioned before. As in the top laner had played Sejuani before, so the flex pick kind of had, at least from the previous game, put Aatrox in top lane and Sejuani jungle. But now we do have the Sej top and Trundle jungle. Good call out there.
Yeah, and I think that there is some fight going on in bot lane. Oh, he gets traded back. He's not in tower range, so he's not going to take a bunch of tower shots, but he is going to get those Blight stacks procced, and he's going to go a little bit low. And I'm interested to see what build path this Varus goes for. He's probably just going to go for the standard attack speed on hit build path. Oh, but we have a fight.
We got a bit of a jungle invade here from B-Barrow. He's going to walk away after charging that Q. Takes the chomp, and then there's some visibility. We have blue side from bot lane walking up. We also have mid from red side walking up. This could be a very scary fight. They're all put in the same spot. We have mid here to challenge as well. 4v4 in this bot side. We have Vi going in, trying to claim this blue buff. There's a knockup onto Trundle. There's a flash out from him. Nautilus is taking a lot of damage for his troubles. Tries to hook away, doesn't get very far. 200 health though. He is going to be able to walk away. Vi does get the blue buff.
MVP of that fight is Grussel Grindset on the Victor, because he zoned the Azir off, so Azir wasn't able to really get into that fight, and then UTD just had the health bar advantage, and Vi has the ability to just dive in and do a bunch of damage. So they're able to pressure them off, get the blue buff, get that advantage, and I believe that's a 3 buff game for Vi. You know, easy to execute, easy to get 3 buffs. Maybe it's a coincidence, who knows?
Ooh, there's a big hook here onto Aphelios. He gets the root after we have the Tom to jump in to try and alleviate a lot of that pressure. We also have both Vi and Trundle walking up. Aphelios has taken so much damage here, but as has both Nautilus and Varus, but there's going to be another hook here onto Tom. He's going to flash out. Vi is also super low. This is looking super bad for UTD, and First Blood goes to Varus on from that.
Tom Kench just barely doesn't get that gray health. You know, if he gets that gray health off, maybe there's a chance. I mean, the health bars are just so low down there. There's maybe a chance UTD could angle for something, but he is unfortunately going to fall. But, you know, on the bright side, huge sums advantage coming back into lane. I mean, Aphelios still has Flash and Cleanse. They would fight a little bit of a skirmish going down, a good trade, but Azir is out of mana, and maybe Grussel Grindset's going to try to make a play. But it looks like Sejuani is there. Are they fighting? They're not.
No. We do have Azir really low here. Grussel Grindset, not a whole lot of mana himself. He's trying to walk up, gets a bit of a move speed buff, just a couple of autos. But Trundle is here, gets the kill with the laser from Azir, but now has to try and maneuver away from Trundle. Trundle's going to back off, and that's going to be a 1-1 even kill across both team here. A bit of a CS lead for Azir over Victor, but he does have that kill lead. Curious to see how gold stands between the two.
Yeah, and I think that Trundle is a little bit frustrated there because he doesn't have the flash up, but we have a fight breaking out of bot lane.
This is really bad position here for UTD. They're pretty low on health. Looks like Nautilus kind of has to stick with that hook in and disengage. I was talking about that a little bit how Varus doesn't necessarily have the greatest follow-up to Nautilus, and that's not the first time we've seen Nautilus hook in and just walk away. Because there's not really a whole lot more that Nautilus can do. He gets the hook in, he gets the auto root, Varus gets a couple autos off, maybe. And that's really it. There's not a big fight to really play out from the rest of that. So even though I feel like if there's a more, I guess, dive-ready ADC in that situation, they could have gotten a double kill right there. Yeah. Because they have the Varus, they're going to just have to walk away. Zone them out, still get a CS lead to try and push, or at least attempt to try and even this out, rather, because they are down in the CS. But that's just something to note about the character matchups.
Yeah, and in the top side, we're kind of seeing what we expected is just, you know, neither of these guys has the real damage to win this 1v1, so they're just kind of going to be playing for wave states and trying to see who can outwave the other person, and it's looking right now to be a bit of an advantage towards the Ornn. And the Trundle is super duper behind. 21 CS at 6 minutes is pretty bad, especially when you can get 24 at 3:30 if you're playing Trundle.
Oh,
so he's down about 3 minutes worth of CS, and for not even an assist on that bot play.
That is some tough positioning. here for Trundle. One adaptation I do want to point out for at least Grussel Grindset's positioning is that although this could also be a difference in junglers, here it is kind of to counterpoint actually what I was about to say. I liked how Grussel Grindset is positioning where he didn't just get walked up on by enemy jungler as he proceeded to get walked up on by enemy jungler, but this time Vi is in the house too. There's the Victor ult, huge damage onto Trundle, and they're going to turn that fight around very, very quickly to be in UTD's favor. And in the meantime, in the bot lane, we have a bit of a skirmish here. Varus looking to pick up a kill off of Tom Kench, but Aphelios is setting up to try to dive right back in. Potential knockup from Tom Kench. They got a little too greedy. Hukri is actually going to go down for a kill, but so both supports are going to go down while ADCs are still alive. Ooh, Grussel Grindset going for a big play here. Big damage onto Azir, but can't necessarily sustain. Just a bit of burst. Top lane is vibing. Just getting their CS as much as they can. There's a lead here for Yoshiwi by about a 12 CS. We have the Ornn ult popping. Sejuani is looking to put on the damage. Ooh. He's going to have to flash out, barely walking away from that stun.
Yeah, super duper close. Sejuani, like, very, very perfectly buffered that dash from the Ornn, so he wasn't able to actually fully get out. Luckily the Ornn does survive, but just by a hair. And in the bot side, we saw that Tom Kench just got a little bit greedy. Thought they could go for that low health play, but he gets hooked in.
There's the Hex Flash hook into Root. He's going to flash out, trying to use the speed boost from the red gun. Is going to get a bit of health back. Oh, we have a walk up here from Ornn. Not going to commit too hard to try to take out that Sejuani.
Yeah.
He's chilling, just trying to grab some CS.
I completely respect that play from Deathly. I mean, he's obviously, like, crazy good, but very, very close to death there, and he still does have the cleanse. I'm wondering if he knew that he just did not need to cleanse that. But we do have the first drag up. It's been up for about 3 minutes now, and neither team is super duper prioritizing the first early fight. But Grussel Grindset is
going to find himself caught out. We have a jump in here from Azir. There's a stun with the cage. Big damage. We have Tom Kench hopping in, trying to neutralize this, but he is only level 4. Not going to take that much damage. We have a flash in from Vi to get the ult onto Azir. He's not going to find his way out. He's going to die. 1v4.
Yeah, easy to execute, but just horrible to play into. I mean, that is a nightmare scenario for Azir. I'm not sure he wanted to be there, but now that he's there, that's tough. Not much you can do there. You get flash ulted, you're kind of just CC'd for a while, and they're going to look to transition that into that Herald, try to see if they can get some plating. There's still 5 minutes left on plating, so they're comfortably going to be able to get one of their laners ahead. I'm taking my bets. I think that they're going to put it in the mid lane just to try to absolutely snowball this Victor. We're going to see how that goes, though. And if we look towards the bot side, even though the Varus is up 2-0, we actually got a fight breaking out.
Oh yeah, we got a big hook here onto Tom. He's going to try to keep himself alive, but that level disadvantage, how little health he has, is just not going to be able to keep him in those fights. And because of that, Aphelios is also going to have to back out. Bot looking a little bit contentious here for UTD side, but since we have mid and jungle also walking up here to try and contest, this could be a huge fight. Crazy jump onto Trundle. He's already dead and down. We have a hook away from Nautilus to try and disengage. ViQ is going to be up soon. There's an ult to try and turn this around. Victor's actually getting shut down, and Varus is going to pick up that kill too. Nautilus probably about to go down here to Aphelios, and in the meantime, Vi is actually going to fall to Varus. He's going to kite his way to apply enough damage to keep himself alive. There is a Q. We have Azir trying to maybe get this kill off on Aphelios, but we have Tom to help zone and disengage him. Not to mention Varus is still very low. You can't be playing too risky or too greedy, but does he want that Varus Q to hit Aphelios? He absolutely does. Hoping to see if Azir can pick up the rest of that. And he's just fighting for scraps at this point, but you got 5-0. Crazy lead here for Varus right now. Wonderful zoning up against, and kiting up against that that Vi earlier in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, that Varus played that exceptionally, and Azir's going to look to try to see if he can pick up 1, maybe 2 here. He gets stunned up by the Thomas, so he's not going to be able to do too much there. They're just going to back off, but I mean, wow, that Varus played that exceptionally. I mean, he played that on a razor's edge and managed to still get 2 or 3 kills there. It was phenomenal. I mean, he just kited that perfectly. Unfortunately, Aphelios wasn't able to get that damage onto the Nautilus in time, so he wasn't able to do it. But we have got a fight going on. Grussel Grindset gonna have to kite it out.
Putting a lot of hurt onto Trundle, but Sejuani is here to clean it up the rest very, very quickly. There's an ult, applying the rest of that hard CC, and he's gone. He's just gone.
Yeah, and I mean, that Trundle in the bot fight looked incredibly squishy. He does not have any health items yet. I mean, he's building the Divine Sunder, it looks like. So he opted not to go for the Kindle Gem. So he's not that tanky, and we saw him get blown up in that Tri-Bush by Victor Vi. And here we see that
hop over Raptors, but Sejuani's already able to pick up some plates.
Yeah, she just gets in and gets out. Going to collect her gold and depart.
Right. In the bot lane, earlier we had the golds pulled up as well, and Varus is about a 1k gold lead over Aphelios right now. Super excited to see how Varus is going to have kind of team presence over the rest of the game, especially since Azir seems to be a little behind Victor. Not that to say that he's out of the game by any means, but Victor's got a lot. Oh, there's a big hook onto Aphelios, and we have a Vi ult in the backline onto Varus as well. But Aphelios is out of the fight, and Vi is just in 1v4. She can't make anything happen on her own, and UTD is actually going to have to walk away back off this fight.
Yeah,
and
I don't
giving up this drag to Aquinas because of it.
I don't think UTD accounted for the fact that it's a 5v4 there, and Vi just goes in and gets just absolutely decimated, gets picked off. They get Aquinas gets the first drag of the game. That Infernal drag going to make Aquinas about 4% stronger. You know, you're going for a little bit of a tankier comp there, so it's not ideal if you're Aquinas to get that Infernal Drake, but still, it's going to make Azir feel a little bit more impactful in the game, and it's also going to make Varus just a little bit more of a menace.
That much more of a problem for UTD to end up dealing with. But I like how they both had their engages running on each other's ADCs, right? We had the Nautilus hook on Aphelios, and we had the Vi kind of flash in and then ult to Varus. But the thing about Vi's positioning up on Varus, ooh, there's a flash in here from the Root, and also a great pillar there from Trundle as well to just completely lock Aphelios out from keeping his movement. But there's a reverse on this fight here. Nautilus is going to go down. Big damage onto Tahm Kench, and he is down as well. We have the ult pop, and we have Herald here in the bot lane too. Is he going to be able to proc the Root? Not quite. We have Vi trying to put up a fight here up against Trundle, but taking way too much damage here from Varus. Varus is going to walk up, putting on the hurt, but actually Trundle's going to go down. Varus is not going to be able to kill Aphelios in time. Varus goes down as well, and now it's just Azir by himself. He is able to get Aphelios and then tries to pop an ult to keep himself safe, but that's where Victor cleans up with the laser, and UTD is way right back in it.
Yeah, it was a good fight from Aquinas, but it ends up being a 3-for-2 in the favor of UTD. You know, Azir does do a good job of picking up that shutdown onto the Aphelios, but still, that was a huge shutdown for a Vi onto that Forest. So, you know, it looks like the gold is starting to even out a little bit. I mean, in the bot lane, the Varus still has a 1.1k gold lead, but in the mid lane, let's look at that. That's also a 2,000 gold lead for Victor. That man is scary, and it's also a 2,000 gold lead, but we got to fight in the top side.
Ooh, yeah, we've been engaged here from Yoshi. We haven't seen a whole lot of action besides Sejuani occasionally going for a roam. Here is the Ornn ult one more time, but he's going to get stunned, so he's not going to be able to throw it out. Great timing there from Sej, and that's actually a huge tool that Ornn has just not been able to win these fights without it, so he's going to disengage. We have a bunch of top side positioning here now. We have both Varus and Nautilus here in top, as well as Trundle. Tahm Kench walking up.
Very scary Ornn on the top side, but Aphelios might be a little bit caught out here. I think he's going to scare him off just a bit, but they're going to engage onto the Trundle.
Or attempt to. There is actually going to be an ult from the Vi after pulling some of the early CC resources down, and they're content with just, one pick, one ult, just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can dodge the Tahm Kench W as long as you want, but you cannot dodge the Vi ult.
Right. Vi had to use her Q just to get some range and potentially looking for something over the wall, but it really was the ult. But now we have Azir to push these two with his ult, and again, it's a 5v2 situation. Rather 5v3, they're just outnumbered. There's Tahm Kench getting caught by the hook here. There's only so much kiting that Aphelios can do to keep himself alive, and it's a little too late for Victor to really help out the rest of his team. Ooh, there's a flash away from that hook. He was scared.
He was scared. Not great guns there from Aphelios. He had red, and he had, or I guess we can call him Crescendum and Severum? I think that's what the sniper is called. He had red and sniper, so he didn't have great combination there to really pump out the kind of damage he wanted. So he wasn't able to get much trade back. But yeah, they were kind of caught in a position they weren't ready for. I mean, they'd gotten the pick, and I don't think they were really expecting to be outnumbered after getting a pick. So they get caught, pushed up, and punished. But we did see I guess the ideal Tahm Kench interaction with Aphelios, where he just eats Aphelios. Are they going to stop the back? Oh, he hits him. Not in time.
Not going to stop the back, right? Yeah. I think one thing I'm noticing is also there's been a lot less top-sided fights, and Yoshiwi has been very content just staying in the top side. So before we had Ornn have a bit more map presence here in the top side with all the fights that were taken earlier. Now he's just not been playing the game besides just sitting back and farming. Meanwhile, Sejuani is ready to pull up and square up for those mid and bot sided fights as well. He was stuff for drag or like that mid conversion we just saw earlier, while Yoshiwi is kind of nowhere to be seen. That numbers game alone actually matters a lot here for these team fights, and it's putting Aquinas in a really good position.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure he's pretty content being up, 50 CS in the top side. So he's going to keep doing his thing. I think he's trying to get to level 13, level 14 as fast as possible. Try to get those ornaments on his little Christmas tree in the bot lane. But, as we progress into this game, we have our next drag coming up pretty soon, and UTD is trying to set up for it. They do want to actually start getting some of these. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, it's Mountain Drag coming up in 20 seconds, which is great news for UTD. You really do not want Sejuani, Trundle, and Nautilus to get this mountain soul. So I'm sure if you're UTD, you're thanking your lucky stars that they don't get that. But it looks like they're trying to engage right here.
Ooh, yeah, I think a big thing here is also Tomcatch is a little weaker on the engage side. That laning phase is pretty rough for him. He's taken way too much damage. Look at how much he's already being chipped out, right? And if that's one of your supposed to be one of like your tanky engage supports, and he's like that squishy, that far behind, it kind of nullifies a lot of engage. And Vi's engage is very stark. It goes all the way in with that R, but the rest of your team, you kind of need to have good position to have the rest of your team able to actually follow up on Vi ult. And historically, we've seen UTD kind of struggle to do that in a team fight set. For singular picks, that's been great. But in a team fight setting, the Vi ult has been very deep in, super ballsy, and not quite the most fruitful because no one is there with Vi to follow it up. And UTD is just a little too scared to commit to these team fights, and they're going to give up that second dragon as well. And in exchange, are going to take a
turret in the top side.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm sure UTD is kind of prepared for that fight. I mean, we could see they dropped that Herald, and they sort of all started to shade towards that top side. Fine giving up that dragon. I think they're aware that they win these later game fights, so they're just kind of content with not forcing anything. I mean, we saw how that mid fight went. Maybe Aphelios didn't think he could get the right guns in time, but we do see Hex Tech Soul, which, in my opinion, actually favors Aquinas a lot. I think that being able to slow somebody even more with Azir and even more with Varus is super duper scary if you're UTD, because if you get caught out of position like Vi, she doesn't have as much escape anymore, and neither does, any of them. They're going to get slowed, and that extra damage is just going to do a lot.
That's right. We're looking at a hard engage here from Vi onto Sedge. Rest of team is going to be here. There's the knockup from Tom Kench. That was so clutch. It was just the edge of Pixel there. Yeah. But in the meantime, we had a bunch of Aquinas go and take that tier 2 in the bot side, while UT is going to try to clean up this tier 2 in mid. I think this is pretty huge for team position. Are they going to try to tank this? They're going to speed run it. Oh, man. But there's just not a whole lot of health that either Vi or Tom Kench had, so they had to have Victor take a couple, and then the rest of lane was able to clean up the rest. But yeah, that's going to be a tier 2 both ways for both Aquinas and for UTD.
Yeah, I really like how UTD is playing this. They're doing a good job getting their Ornn the solo XP that he needs, and then also getting the Aphelios some of that like lane pressure that he wants. So, UTD has gained quite a decent farm advantage in all the places they want it, which is the bot and the top. So top is up 50 CS, bot only up 7, but that's still pretty good considering the guy's 10-1 right now. He's also still down 1,500 gold, so they're trying to make up for that deficit. And then that UTD is still up 2,000 gold, and I think essentially all of it comes down to Victor. There's a 1,500 gold lead in the bot lane, and then about the same in the mid lane.
There's also a very big gold lead here for jungle.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that.
About like 3,000 or so, a little bit less than that. But we have a hard engage here onto Sejuani yet again. But Vi is just taking way too much damage. She's not been able to pull through. We have Nautilus getting a big hook here, and there's a root. We have all of UTD kind of flashing into all grouped together. Huge ult there from Azir to catch everyone. I was so worried about UTD being grouped together, and that's going to be absolutely massive for Aquinas here to clean up. But while Aphelios is still alive, he's able to unload as much damage as possible, and so Aquinas isn't quite able to clean up everything that they would have wanted.
Yeah, and I think that Grosso Grindset did end up getting knocked down, but he did a great job of zoning zoning Varus out of that fight. He wasn't really able to do much. So UTD was able.
Ooh, great play here from Sejuani, actually. Trundo's still going to be able to go down, but that was a lot of CC applied at such an angle where he's also going to be falling under a tower. Great management of resource that they did have available, and now we have the rest of the team trying to pull up and take care of Yoshiwi. Finally, he's in a fight. Let's see if we can get either a kill or death on the board, and there he is, 0-1. Big shutdown here for Varus, 11-1.
Yeah, I mean, Varus didn't end up dying when when Victor zoned him off, but he did have to back up and reset. But he does end up getting it, but wow. What a crazy fight that was. I think that, a lot of it was very nuanced, so it kind of missed a lot of it, but that was crazy. That was like a bloodbath that lasted for like a good minute and a half. So, that's something I probably want to rewatch after this. But, but both teams are resetting. The drag's coming up in a minute, and Baron is up. So we can see that UTD is just sort of resetting and trying to reestablish their vision line that Aquinas took back recently, and it looks like Aquinas is actually going to be shading towards this drag. They want to force Soul Point. They want to force the end of the game as fast as possible. Don't want Ornn to really power that up.
Ooh, that's a big hook on the Tom Kent. She's going to get melted, and UTD is just not going to be able to respond there.
Yeah, I fear that is that's a Baron for Aquinas. Aquinas is going to Baron. They're not going to send anyone to the drag. I mean, it is 30 seconds away, so they could possibly get both. But UTD is a little bit left in no man's land here. They don't really have one of their key engaged tanks. So they're just kind of have to try to see if they can do some poke. Maybe hope Baron does a lot of damage. Might be wishful thinking, though.
Ooh. Yeah, they're trying to set up here. Here's Ornn ult on deck, but he's going to get stunned. It's not going to proc. Sejuani's caught in the crossfire. She's taking quite a bit of damage, but not a whole lot of unloaded back in UTD's end. They are going to be able to take the dragon. There's a Nautilus hook, but there's still also an Azir ult. Nautilus is going to go down, but big damage all across from UTD. But Aphelios is just tearing through, getting a triple kill here.
Yeah, what a fight from UTD. I mean, that looked pretty doomed. That 4v5, they go in, they really show their cards, and they just absolutely wreck them. They take 3. That's 3 Barons or 3 Baron buffs off the map, and they're actually going to go get that drag next too. So a crazy huge play for UTD that really put them back into the game. I mean, that pick was really scary on the Tom Kenjin. Being able to turn that into a triple kill on your main carry is crazy good. I mean, what a Baron power play.
that is huge. That is really huge. And now we finally have first drag for UTD off of that as well, keeping themselves in the game, still have the gold lead. We are going to see top going to go down with Azir utilizing that Baron buff. Is going to back. Yeah, that was great response there from UTD, I feel. Having that Baron pressure is just not something you want to be dealing with already, kind of a little bit on your back foot from previous fights. But UT was very much able to keep up the pace there with their positioning, with their damage output, and they're going to be able to walk away, like you said, triple kill on their main carry.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but I think this is a great plan from UTD. I mean, we'll see if it ends up working out, but I think I said it going into the first game that I thought UTD was trying to force the Aquinas jungler onto the Trundle, and he's 06. I think that they did want that, and I think they knew they had an answer for that. And I think that answer might have been Vi. Maybe it was Tom Kench, but whatever they found, I think it's working. That dude is 0-6 right now, and Vi is up a lot of gold. Mainly from getting the shutdown on Varus, but still, nonetheless, 3 kills and 12 assists is a lot of gold.
That's right, that's right.
And it looks like UTD is just trying to see if they can push this mid wave in, maybe try to threaten an inhibitor. I mean, they know Azir's in the top side, so they have the man advantage here. Yeah, so they're waiting for the wave.
Zoned off Aquinas quite well, actually, but tower's going to be healthy enough where I don't think they can burst it down. Oh, maybe I should eat my words, actually.
Billions. That is 200 years of your tower being gone. It looks like Aquinas is probably going to trade back the tier 2 and top side. 550 gold's a lot, but an inhibitor is a lot more.
Right. Now you have central map pressure down the mid lane with your inhib and your super minions. That's pretty big here for UTD. And while it seems like Azir's actually not stopping, Azir's also going down to that inhib tower. And now the thing is, Nautilus has already gotten down, so is Vi. It's a 4v3. Does not seem like Aquinas wants to fight this, and Azir is trying to maybe see if he can pick up that inhibitor in time. We do have Victor backing, and we do have UTD disengaging, and this is where Aquinas is going to want to stop backs.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually super huge for Aquinas to get the kill on the Vi. If they don't get the kill on the Vi there, then UTD gets to keep pushing. But now that Vi's dead, the Azir split push looks like a genius move. I was this close to calling it a horrible move, but now it's looking genius.
Right, he's actually going to be able to pick up a Nexus tower here. We have Aphelios backing Great disengage there from Azir in time, but as you know, we have UTD trying to fight out whatever's left from Aquinas' end. Sejuani is going to go down there, trying to put up a lot of pressure up onto Varus as Trundle walks away, but that's a crazy shutdown. And Azir comes in here for the back, and Trundle's trying to fight the rest of this out too. Yoshiwa's going to go down. UTD's taking way too much damage. There's a great stopwatch from Azir. He's going to keep himself alive as Nautilus comes back. Wow.
Wow, that was a crazy fight. I mean, the UTD was playing so close to death there. I mean, at one point, I'm sure they had a collective like 500 HP, but they managed to out-tank the tanks on the other side. I mean, the Sejuani, the Trundle, and the Varus were just not able to put enough damage into the Tahm Kench and the Ornn, and that, you know, the fight went long. I mean, I don't know how that happens, and UTD comes out on top there, but man, am I thankful.
Yeah, that's it's been a lot. I think Aquinas still really enjoyed that trade with the initial inhib push.
Yeah.
Right, at first we're like, oh man, UTD is zoning off Aquinas really well. Oh, they take that first inhib tower. How is Aquinas responding? We got Azir split pushing on top. He just picks up the tier 2. Okay, you know, nothing too crazy. But from there becomes a small fight where they go 1-for-1, and now it's 3v4. And in this meantime, this is where Azir is using that Baron buff and just like, oh, Nexus tower down.
Yeah.
And then inhib down. Right, they trade the inhib, and then they go for an actual Nexus tower too, like after the inhib tower. It's that was quite the trade. That was really scary. A bit of like an espionage kind of snipe in play there from Azir. I love the split push. That was a great decision.
Yeah, and now we got
in the long run.
We got an even gold game. I mean, 400 gold separating these teams. I mean, this is super exciting. We're 28 minutes in, dead even game. This is where, you know, this is the meat grinder. This is the League of Legends we want to see. These late game team fight scenarios that teams wish they could practice. This is where like the instincts really come out. And, you know, like if you're a good player, you know how to play these team fights. So these are going to be some very pivotal moments here. And right as the ornaments are coming out, you know, we see that we have the upgraded Kraken Slayer, and I actually think that is it. I mean, he obviously has his upgraded Sunfire. But Sejuani looking for a flank here. They don't know she's in the bush.
Right, she had pretty great position there on the Aphelios. She's going to walk up here, jumps and grabs an ult. Going to pick off the Tahm Kench. Aphelios goes down too. UTD just did not have the position to help manage this fight, and Grussel Grindset was out. So that 5v4, where with not a whole lot of damage dealers on deck, pretty rough here for Grussel Grindset. Great zoning here from Nautilus, but this is absolutely massive for Quietus right now.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, he got that canceled.
Ooh.
That is tough. That is tough scenes for Victor. I mean, UTD has no base defense. 10 seconds left on the Tahm Kench. Not sure what he can do. 20 seconds on the next closest member. Right. I don't think there's anything new. I think that's game.
Yeah, Grussel Grindset went to go and ended up killing the Nautilus, but that is going to be game. Wow, congratulations here to Aquinas College taking first game in this set.
Yeah. Also, you know, the first time UTD has lost when I've casted them, it's a tragedy. I didn't think it was possible.
You hate to see it. I mean, you had a sample size of 3?
3.
Yeah.
They were 3-0. 3-1's still not bad. You know, not a great sample size. So hopefully UTD can make it 5-1. That would be great.
Working your way up. That's right. Yeah, that was definitely a back and forth game.
Yeah.
I really thought it was super funny how we're like, oh, now we're into the mid late game. This is where decisions get really important, and then we just see UTD get caught out in a mid fight where they don't have numbers, they don't have damage, and then the game's over right then and there. A lot of back and forth though. A lot of back and forth. I do think Aquinas did have, despite the gold lead always kind of going to UTD, I feel like Aquinas had the pulse on objectives a little bit more. They had a lot of those towers, they had a lot of those dragons, even those Rift Heralds. It just seemed like, and a big thing is for fights and catching people out, UTD was pretty committal on their like single target, right? You have the Vi ult, you get it, right? Tahm Kench get a knockup, and sometimes you get a couple people, right? And Ornn just didn't seem to have that much of a presence, a lot of it too. Ornn's ult knockup was just not happening. He was always getting stunned out of it and wasn't able to get the proper follow-up. And beyond it was just Aphelios, because Victor didn't just seem to be kind of out of place or wasn't able to put on a whole lot early on either. And I think that made team fighting so much harder when you have this like such an all-in with, you know, Sejuani and Trundle, while Azir can also just hop in, get those. We saw great Azir ults this time around too. Even though it felt like Victor did much better in laning phase earlier on compared to what we saw before, where he would just get walked up on in lane and just die, right? This time around, he's a lot more cognizant of that, roaming a little bit too, picking up kills left and right, and actually seemed to have a bit of a lead over Azir. Azir.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to push and build something there, but Azir never fell off. Quite. He was never out of the game. And his presence was definitely felt in those later fights too, able to really follow up off of Sejuani and Trundle getting super. And then, of course, Nautilus too. Cannot forget Nautilus as being a great engage. I think a big key here, actually, was Tahm Kench being a little bit less useful than kind of what you'd want out of a Tahm Kench support, especially early on, where there was a bit of failed roams and a couple of tough fights where he just kind of got zoned off really early, really hard, and he was really behind on EXP. And after not having a whole lot of EXP or just not getting a lot of those levels, you can't really fight a whole lot of stuff. And as a support, you're not about to go solo farm a lane on your own, right? You have to stick with your teammates to try and soak as much EXP as you can. And it was just tough. He kept getting caught out. He kept getting bursted down as the engaged support, right? Like you need to be able to get it and so like take a lot of that damage. He was just not having it. He was not having it. I think that kind of set the tone for bot lane being able, Aquinas' bot lane to be able to hold their backbone. And then, Nautilus had no issues going in. Even if he did have to end up dying, that was a hard engage.
Yeah.
He got right. Someone was able to pick up off of that. And Varus was there to kind of handle that as best as he could. Not as much in laning phase, but definitely a whole lot more in the mid to late game fights. So we'll see. I think that's kind of my big point of improvement I would want to point out for UTD is how to handle the support rooms and the support presence, especially with the kind of engaged tank support. If they can't engage and if they can't tank, well, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right? Why are they there? So hopefully we'll see some crazy adaptations. Maybe UTD will be more inclined to change up more of their roster this time. Or maybe go back if they can. Lulu was banned this time. The only roster change we had was the Lulu off the Tahm Kench from UTD side.
And the Vi from
and the
Lilia.
Vi is the jungle. That's right. Right, the Vi instead of Lilia.
Yeah, but it's looking like it might be a little bit of the tactic is lose mid lane, win late game. But
We'll see.
What I'm really excited to see next game, Angry Deathly.
Ooh.
He did really well this game.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did look a little bit to me. You didn't hear it from me. It looked a little bit like a bot lane diff. I mean, they were both pretty fed, but I mean, Varus did a lot there. I mean, Azir and Nautilus, but that Varus was pretty untouchable. I mean, I think that can be attributed a lot to the front line of Aquinas. I mean, it's impossible to get past the Sejuani, Nautilus, and Trundle. I mean, especially when Vi goes in. Vi is just by herself. Aphelios is not really able to melt down that front line fast enough, so Vi's going to go in, ult the back line, and then hope that she can do enough damage to Varus. And that's where I think that the Conqueror... So if I took Conqueror, before the game I was really hoping it was Hail of Blades.
Right.
Because Hail of Blades allows that Vi to do a lot more damage a lot quicker to Varus. And if you give the Nautilus or Trundle enough time to peel off that Vi... suddenly, he's not able to do that damage and Varus gets out. And especially since he was so fed, he was just able to pump that damage in so quickly. And that guy just got melted. Every time that B-Barrel went in, B-Barrel went back to base.
Yep. That was death timer that B-Barrel had to sit through as Vi. Like, I'm loving the spear, right? Getting that back line, ult that Varus.
Yeah.
No one else is there. Not a single time.
There's no way for them to get in.
Yeah, there's no way to get in, right? You have Sejuani and Trundle and Nautilus disrupting so much with their hard CC. It's tough. It's an interesting comp. Very curious to see how things will change. But we're going to throw it over to a break before we hop into next draft. So we'll see you guys on the other side.
Your lips are stained with fiction. You always have your reasons, and I spoil you rotten. Your hands are sealed in pockets. You fill them with your secrets. To you, I am nothing. I am. Your kiss, sweet like poison. You know you make me reckless. I'll run, but you are friction. Your touch feels like heaven. You make me hate all my sins. You are my religion. My religion. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you.
And here we are, thrown back into bans. So we got Aquinas here on blue side this time, UTD on red side, swapping after that game one, going to Aquinas. Some similar, I would say these are all bans we've seen before across these two teams, right? We have the Yumi Kindred and Caitlyn here from Aquinas' side. So the Kindred is back on table as a ban, so I guess it's back on the table of being off the table. Meanwhile, UTD is still trying to get rid of Mahcks and the Shen. Still not trying to mess with the top laner with 600 games on Shen. You know, just get rid of it every time. Just guaranteed early ban. Don't let him first pick it. Don't let him do anything with it really.
Yeah, I mean, that dude has 602 games on Shen this season, and his next most played is 37. That's a difference of a lot.
Yeah.
If you aren't mathing fine.
Quite a bit. Silas still going down from UT's end too. Don't want to be doing that in the mid lane. Aquinas now has first pick. What's the high profile, high priority champion that they're going to be looking for here?
I think since they have first pick, oh man, what were they prowling? I don't think they were prowling anything in particular. Maybe they want to put their bot laner back on Varus. Oh, it's the Sejuani.
Yep.
Because they like flexing it. They've been playing it to where they pick it early and then they're willing to flex it top or jungle. So first picking it is essentially, not picking something you can really be counterpicked. Because if they counterpick jungle, then
Flip it top.
they flip it top, and then Aquinas picks their jungler and sends Sejuani top, and vice versa. If they pick a top laner that counters Sejuani, then they draft a top laner and Sejuani goes jungle. But we got the Azir locked in for UTD. It looks like they were fine with the Victor Azir matchup, but they probably
They want to
prefer
just
the
pick
Azir.
away the Azir and maybe see
Yeah.
what else can Aquinas' mid laner play. Potentially, it looks like we're running the vibe back though. I think they're still pretty happy with the single target lock on. Just let me flip you and ult you big damage. You're done. Type deal. Even if the follow-ups weren't necessarily there earlier, Azir is a mid laner that can try and follow up and really get in there to help apply pressure to follow up afterwards. But no, never mind. We're gonna go back to Ornn. Ornn's
Now-
pretty standard. Keep him up top. let him do his thing. Hopefully Yoshi will try to engage with the game a little bit more this time around. I feel like last game he was really just farming. And that's great and all, but you do got to be doing something with your Ornals. And he got kind of counterpicked in a sense by the Sejuani by just being able to get stunned out of his ult so often that he can't really 1v1 Sejuani anymore. And also in team fights, he was getting picked out of it too. So I'm kind of curious to see why he would intentionally pick Ornn into Sejuani, considering that was such a big problem last time around. Maybe it feels like just not too big of a deal. Maybe he'll still roll with it. Or they'll try to maybe force Sejuani into jungle somehow so that they should end up being topside. But we get the Syndra pick here as Aquinas' mid laner. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Syndra is a champ that recently just got a little mini rework. Oh, okay, that's what I was going to mention. So UTD hovered the Vi, and I've always wondered if that's like a strategy where they try to mind control the enemy team into thinking that they're trying to prio pick something. You know, it's like, oh, we want to pick the Vi, but we'll wait a bit. You know, we'll relax. Maybe we'll pick it later. And maybe it worked. Maybe Aquinas got a little bit scared.
They got conditioned into picking Vi themselves. Who knows? But Jarvan is open.
So is Graves. So is everything. He's hovering whatever he wants. I hope we see a Graves. I think Graves would be super interesting.
Yeah,
we see it.
Let's go. Pick. Okay, wow. I know UT's jungler, Hukri, or I guess if it is Hukri, has a lot of history on Jarvan, although we historically have been seeing Hukri play support these past 2 games. So maybe the Graves picks for B-Barrel. Maybe Hukri is getting back into the driver's seat with jungle. We'll see.
Yeah, first 2 games, B-Barrel gets jungle. Second 2 games, because this is going to a map 3, of course.
Copia.
No. Graves is going to take us there. I mean, this is a high skill expression champion going into Vi. And, you know, I was all for Vi. Now, my friendship with Vi has ended, and now Graves is my best friend.
Good to know.
And Graves is going to be the game changer here. I believe it. I think that with a great frontline like Ornn and probably another tank engage support, Vi is going to have the same problem that it had on UTD, where you go in and then your backline's getting melted and you're getting melted and you're not able to do much. Let's see if this Vi will go for Halo.
See, that's where Sejuani comes in to make a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Because Vi's not the only one that's going to try to be like face rolling in, right? You're going to have your Sejuani board just smashing through people as much as possible. But now we got all these bot lane centric bans.
Yeah.
Varus and Aphelios both down and out for the count. Both the primary ADCs from the last game. Aphelios we've seen beyond that. So if I'm going to see definitely pick off someone else. And we've seen Aquinas' ADC player play Jinx before. Still did well for their own sake. Like they played the game as much as they could. It was just really great lead from definitely that game. So Jinx might still be on the table there for Aquinas' ADC. We might be seeing some other characters here in rotation as well from UTs. Now that Aphelios is out, let's see what else definitely has to pick. Caitlyn is open. I think. No, never mind. No, she's banned. My bad. But let's look into those bans to see if she's open or not. She's not open. So both Aphelios and Caitlyn are down. It's all up in the air.
I think UTD mind controlled Aquinas again. They hovered the Tom Kench, and now Tom Kench is banned. But UTD is going to go back onto the Lulu, so maybe we are still seeing Hakiri in the support role.
I'm kind of curious of why Aquinas wanted to go for the Tom Kench ban, especially since Tom Kench didn't seem to make that much of an impact last game.
Yeah, I think he got
exposed. Compared to Lulu being a big deal the game before to help assist definitely. So not really sure what the decision-making process is behind that, but I'll trust that Aquinas knows what they're doing because they're playing the game and I'm not.
Yeah, they're the ones on the server and we're the ones in the caster booth.
Exactly.
But that being said, we are going to see the Jinx coming out from Aquinas, and I mean, it is very scary seeing Lulu Jinx, so I think that, you know, that might be a comfort pick, but it's also a little bit of a denial, trying to not let UTD get that Jinx Lulu, because Jinx Lulu is scary. That you get Nomsy or what? Wixie, you get Wixie on you, and then your autos start doing a million damage at level 2. But we are going to see Jinx Karma. And
is this another point of conditioning? We saw the Karma hover before, and now the Karma is picked on the other side. Is Aquinas just like, oh, you hovered a champ? What if I pick it? And now here we are. We got a Sivir hover here from UTDs, and if this is going to be Deathly's weapon of choice, I think we'll be looking at a pretty funny poke-heavy bot lane from UTD's side, which I think is a nice change of pace compared to what we've seen before. Although they did seem to still play pretty aggressive beforehand. Now we could get a lot more of that early damage, just boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, and the Sivir pick is a huge counter pick to the Vi. Because as soon as you see that R go on you, the Vi ultimate, you're just going to put your spell shield on. And then suddenly, Vi's in your backline, didn't do CC, didn't do damage. and she's just going to get picked off. Hopefully. That's, of course, the ideal game plan. But as we look at like the team comps, very different from the other games. I mean, we still have UTD playing Ornn top and then Control Mage in mid. And Aquinas is going to be playing the Sejuani top again and Control Mage mid. But, once again, bot lane and jungle is where we're seeing the biggest variation. And it's going to be a super duper interesting game because Sivir, Lulu, I haven't seen much of, but, Karma Jinx has a good amount of threat to put out a good amount of damage early.
That's right. That's right. Oh boy, I'm excited for the teamfight potential here that both times had to offer. I think UTD has a lot more follow-up engage this time around with characters like Azir. Graves going to be trying to find his way, and Sivir can ult, try to get the whole team in. But, your primary engage here actually does seem to very much be Ornn, right? You have a more damage dealing, not as like kind of bruiser-esque-ish, but Graves really is kind of frontline, but he's not really supposed to be taking damage on Graves' end. And then we have the Enchantress support too with Lulu. We don't have a tank support, or nor do we have a tank jungler. On the other end, we have fairly bulky Vi, and we also have Sejuani up top, so they're both just barreling down the front line and back line as much as they can. And then you kind of have Karma playing a little bit of mix of both in a sense, where she's going to be a little slippery, she's going to be kind of annoying, but still, very much Enchantress-esque, right? Do a lot of AP poke, but get some shields out there too, right? I'm very curious about to see kind of how the team fights of both these teams play, because they still have Syndra and they still have Jinx, right? These are some greater, and Karma too, right? Greater like team fight, like maneuverable champions, as with Sejuani ult engage, right? Get a huge CC lock there on a lot of the team, and then we got the single target from Vi. But on the other end, it's like your big team fight engage really is going to be something like an Ornn ult into jump behind with Azir ult, right? Meanwhile, Graves just trying to pump damage, and then Sivir is just trying to throw out as many Qs and Ws as she can, to kind of throw it all away. But the engage is very much top-sided. So if we see Yoshibi play as passively as he did last game, I think that's going to make a lot of those 4v4 scuffles bot lane super, super awkward, because they don't have a tank. They just don't have a tank. We'll see how that plays out, and their positioning and everything like that has to line up. I would hope that Yoshibi is more cognizant of the idea that he is the only tank of the team, so why not use that TP button to go down instead of go back to lane every time, right? We all love farming, but let's see if we can have a bit more of that team fight presence and actually be the tank that the tank needs, or rather that the team needs.
Yeah, and if we look at team comps, I think for UTD, this is going to be a super interesting game, because we've seen UTD sort of play around the Ornn where you kind of try to hyperscale, but the games have ended pretty early, and even the games that UTD played last week, they ended pretty early. Right. So what I want to see from UTD is actually playing towards super late, because Aquinas is very, very strong in like mid game, because the Syndra, Sejuani, Vi, and Karma are all super duper mid game focused champs, in my opinion. I mean, Syndra does scale super well, but I mean, once you get that one item, I think the one item power spikes are a lot stronger for Aquinas.
Okay. We'll just have to find out how this all plays out. We're going to throw ourselves over to break, and we'll hop right back in when the match starts. We'll see you soon.
feel good? And don't you wanna feel good, good, good? Sometimes I wish that we could go back before you got hurt, hurt, hurt. When before I was scared, now I'm feeling prepared. Don't you wanna feel good? Don't you wanna feel good, good, good?
When you say you were leaving, I thought that you meant it. I played the victim, you start as indifferent. Hindsight.
Welcome back, everybody. We're loading up here into Game 2 of this best of 3 UT Dallas versus Aquinas College here for NECC. If you hadn't caught up with early results here, Game 1 of this best of 3 is going to Aquinas College, but previous to that, they also played a best of 1 for the CLoL circuit, and UT Dallas had ended up winning that. So for overall sets between these two teams played today so far, it is 1-1. So the adaptations here, both teams are kind of up there. They both have proven their dominance over the other for at least one game beforehand, and now it's in their hands to try and push whatever they can forward.
Yeah, and looking at the game, looking at the team comps, I said it once, I'm going to reiterate it. Aquinas is a more mid-game focused team right now, whereas UT Dallas is, I mean, they have Graves, so they can try to make something work early, but reasonably speaking, Azir, Sivir, and Ornn kind of want to play towards the late game just a bit. I mean, top is going to be the same handshake lane we saw last time. I don't think either of them really has the kill threat over the other. So it's going to be interesting. And one thing I wanted to talk about is the Sivir mini rework. Syndra. Did I say Sivir? Yeah, Syndra mini rework. Because I haven't actually seen it played in competitive sense. So they did a little different thing with their Q, is that once she gets these 40 splinters of Wraith, she can now store 2 charges of the cooldown. Same like Amumu's Q. And her W does a little, or it has a little bit larger of a radius, and at 60 splinters of Wrath, it deals an additional 15% true damage, plus some AP scaling. And her E also stuns for a little bit less long, but it also is on a much shorter cooldown early game. As we see a top trade going on, not much happens. It's the same sort of handshake. I think Ornn gets a little bit of HP advantage there, but not much. And then Syndra's R, now at 100 splinters of Wrath, executes champions below 15%, which is crazy.
That's going to be huge for tank melting.
Yeah. Yes, but yeah, she does seem to have a decent amount of percent damage, which is going to be good.
And true damage, too.
Yeah, it's going to be good for Aquinas. We already see a trade going on to Azir. That's a lot of damage. The electrocute proc goes off. He's just going to have to get out. I think he saw the Vi. He's not going to be able to go back. We have Vi
walking down, but Graves is also walking up to try and contest this 2v2. Feeling like UTD's not feeling confident about the position, though, and they're going to walk away from it.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention about the Syndra mini rework is that at the 80 splinters, her E gets the increased radius. So, whereas before it would be like I mean, they give me the degrees here. It's 56 degrees before, which is, a little bit over a quarter of a circle. And now it's a little bit less than 90 degrees. So, a pretty significant increase there. So that means that those balls are going to be able to hit a lot more people, especially in team fights. So she's going to have a little bit more impact. And I think the point of the rework is to make her a little bit more viable in team fights other than just being a single line damage AoE control mage. Now, hopefully she can have a little bit more impact other than just being an R bot.
That is really cool. I'm hoping we can see some of that come out in this game.
Yeah, and also I think that I should talk about how she gets these splinters.
Right.
So splinters, so she can get up to a total of 120 splinters, and then you get the upgrades in order of Q, W, E, and then finally R. And then she restores some mana whenever she collects a splinter from an enemy. And then she also gains spheres via damaging an enemy, leveling up, and killing a cannon minion. So killing those cannon minions is extra important, which is I'm sure not a problem for these guys.
Yeah, not at all. We have Vi trying to jump in here for Aquinas' side. Great catch here. And Lulu goes down from UTD. Already trying to get this bot lane ball rolling. But we do have Graves coming in here up top while Sejuani is caught out past tower. Ooh, there's the slow here. There's trying to stun, but not quite going to land. We have a bunch of autos here. We have flashes to finally close out that kill. 2-1-1 bot lane for top lane. First blood does go to Aquinas College.
Yeah.
We have Grussel Grinds is super low here, but not a lot of mana on the opposing mid laners. Not much that they can do with the kind of an attempted dive, and now Lulu's here to try to round this up. So we do have Hukri on support roaming yet again, like we saw last game. Let's hope that turns out for the better this time around.
Yeah, I think that I'm a little surprised that they didn't switch it up. I think that from what I saw, Hukiri looks a little bit more comfortable in the jungle role, but I'm wrong. Last week, UTD ran their coach as the support player.
Gotcha.
So I forgot about that. But you know, that being said, Hukiri did look very comfortable in the jungle. I will say that he looked incredibly dominant in both of those games.
Right. But opts to go for support here. Playing that one definitely. We've seen them be a dynamic duo in their own way, absolutely devastating in previous games. So the potential is always there. B-Barrel, no slouch in the jungle either.
Yeah.
Gets the job done.
Yeah, and
there's a big stun here, and we have a Sejuani coming in with an ult too. What a great top lane gank. Oh, Azir tries to pop the ult. We're going to have a flash away for Syndra so she doesn't take too much tower damage, but Vi was also there to support. This is another instance of laner walks up on Grussel Grindset, and he just gets annihilated.
Yep. I'm sure he is very ready to never play against Sejuani again, or at least hopefully for this foreseeable future for him. But that being said, Aquinas is going to pick up the first Ocean Drag. And, you know, I think that, you know, Grussel Grindset does still have his flash up, and I think that, I don't know, I'm not entirely certain how that happens so often. I think that there's some sort of communication error going on somewhere where he's not ready for these ganks, or he doesn't have like the vision, or something's going on, because, I mean, that's the 4th time he's died to that in 3 games, which is not great. It's not ideal. Right.
Especially, I mean, it seemed like he was adapting decently well last time around, especially since it was a repeat matchup. And then now he's on this Azir. We can call that a fluke. Fluke. We'll see where things go for future ganks. But Vi is very much in a position to just walk up. And we have Bibero here trying to catch this top lane engage from Sejuani. There is the knock-up, and Graves is going to be able to close out the kill here. Great to have him on time.
Yeah.
Right? We had Orange try to disengage there from Sejuani. He's not taking any poke. Yoshiwi's not the most offensive. He's just like, you know, I'll just do my thing, right? But now that, you know, B-Barrel's there to help out, he's like, oh, I'm going to turn this around with ult you. And actually finally able to get up that ult up against Sejuani since she's not able to stun. If she does, that's her going right back into the fight, which she was already going to lose anyway. So great decision making there.
I think that the perfect word to describe how Yoshiwi plays Orin top lane is he is a golem. He sits there and he golems up. He's a big rock in the top lane. You know, he's going to do his job. He's going to do it well.
That's right. He's just going to sit there, and he will cause a ruckus when he does finally meander his way over to a team fight. But otherwise, he's just charging up there, sitting there, grabbing as much farm as he can. Currently a 15 CS lead over Sejuani. I'm sure that's going to only rise with more later actions here. But now Vi is really caught out, and Grussel Grants is going to be there to help pick up the kill, giving an assist over to B-Barrel as well. Big damage here from Sivir on to the Jinx. Jinx is going to throw out her ult and get flashed away, and Graves is also down here down bot. Potentially, we might be looking at a dive here. We got a lot of squishies on deck, but Vi is going to path her way bot as well. We have Graves diving in underneath that tower, not taking any tower shots, but is taking the brute force of both of these champs right now. But Lulu's here to try and support. Sivir did not come in to help follow up, instead zoning them off and allowing Sivir to farm, potentially getting a plate here. But now that Vi is here, I think UTD's in a pretty scary position. There is the Q in. Is Vi ult available?
Yeah, Vi has flash and ult. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to go for it.
Oh, there's the ult onto Sivir, but she's going to spell shield it. Not too big of a deal for her. She is going to get slowed down. There's the Q knockup afterwards, but it's going to get polymorphed, and it will have to disengage. Sivir is quite low. There's a flash in from Karma. Big AoE damage here, and there is the Jinx W that's going to have to be flashed as well. Lots of resources being burnt, but nobody falls for it.
Yeah, a bunch of summoners burn. Keely, Vi and Jinx still both have their flash up, which is going to be huge going into the next drag, which comes up in 2 minutes. I don't think I mean, B-Barrel is going to have his flashback up, but Lulu and Sivir are definitely not. So that might have just secured Aquinas the second drag. And if we look at like farm, this Graves is doing exceptionally well for himself. He is 100% kill participation. He's kind of been everywhere so far, and he looked scary when he fought that Vi. I mean, that's the kind of Graves that I feel like I want to play, but I just never can. But he just made it look easy there. I mean, when he ganked top, I think that I saw it. He did not miss an ability. He didn't miss an auto. It was all like very perfect. The Q, both sides of it hit, did a bunch of damage. He's playing very well. And he's got himself the lethality with the attack speed boots. So this dude is going to be pumping out a lot of damage.
Speaking of farm, we can also take a look at the mid lane. Ooh, but before we do that, we might be looking at a crazy river fight here. There is a stun, 2v3, but Vi did not opt to fly in. Instead, goes perpendicular, keeping herself safe as Azir is there. Now we got a bit of a mid scuffle as they're all poking and feeling each other out. Graves is going to dash on over, try to get some big damage here, can get rid of the pink ward.
Yeah, and Graves is going to be looking to get Umbral Glaive here. So it's going to be a pretty vision-centered matchup, and hopefully UTD is trying to maybe make a little bit more of an effort to focus down these drags, or maybe just contest objectives a little bit more, because Umbral does a great job of allowing you to very quickly get vision control. And I mean, it also does like sweep and gives Graves a quick power spike with the Umbral, or with the lethality. But, mainly it's for getting vision. But it looks like they're diving onto the Jinx bot side. Let's see if the Jinx can do anything. It's Azir into 4v1. Jinx is going back to base.
Yeah.
But they are going to get it out. They're going to get the Herald out of it. Aquinas is going to pick up the Herald and look for something.
Yeah, Drag is about to be popped up here, but UT is going to path towards mid as their first tower is likely to fall apart here. But Yoshui finally walks in, gets stunned. His ult is not going to be able to come out, tries to dive in, also gets that flashed out as Aquinas' team is disengaging here while also taking that first turret. All those plates here, sub 14 minutes. That was pretty big for Aquinas. Drag is still up too. Seems like UTD is going to path their way down there, but maybe Aquinas can try and challenge this.
Yeah, the timing is going to be quite difficult for Aquinas, but not impossible. I think something that I missed with the Syndra mini rework is that once she hits those 120 splinters, she gets 15% of her AP added. So that comboed with, maybe Rabadon's, is an extra 50% AD. I'm not sure exactly how that's calculated, whether it calculates, the 15% first and then the 35% from Rabadon's, or how that happens, but either way, it's a lot of AP. So she's gonna be scaling a little bit better than I previously expected, because Syndra does scale really well, but there's a point where like a champ like Azir is going to be able to pump a little bit more consistent damage in than the Syndra.
That's right. Now we're looking at a fairly even game state. Not anything too crazy objective-wise to try and contest. Every lane is just trying to get as much farm down as they can. UTD might be looking to take a tower eventually, but I mean, they didn't grab that first Herald. There's so much mid-pressure earlier. We see a pretty significant CS disadvantage in the mid lane, more so than we see in top lane. Grussel Grinds has been struggling to try and deal with this Syndra, and she's been just fine farming up to the top.
Yeah, and the gold looks where it looks to be that, UTD obviously has some advantage in the jungle, but pretty much everywhere else, it's pretty negligible differences. It comes down to who backs win more than how much actual gold difference there is. But, as the game sort of evens out, it is very good that UTD got that one drag. They might have lost the gold trade there, but it delays the soul from Aquinas, but it is Mountain Soul, and Mountain Soul is, it's really good no matter what. Whoever gets it is probably going to win the game.
Yeah, we got a crazy fight here down bot. Sivir already grabs the kill here up onto Jinx. She's going to try ult to disengage. We had a TP in from Yoshimi here trying to fight this out, as is Azir trying to even out the numbers here. 4v4. Big damage all around. Yoshimi right in the front line, tanking so much while Sivir's laying out the hurt. And Sejuani goes down. Now they're trying to chase down Syndra and Karma and Vi. They probably won't be looking for a dive here. Syndra does have full health. but that tower is looking a little low.
Yoshiwi is a golem. That dude was sitting in that bush taking damage for like 10 seconds, and he's still above half HP. They're going to dive under
Graves is
tower.
in. That's the big dive here. He's going to pop the ult so much AoE. And there's a triple kill there for Graves.
So many dead so fast, but 3 for Graves. 502 on the Graves. And key, very, very, very big thing. Graves and Sivir both keep their bounties. The two people that you want, or I mean, you don't want anyone to die, but the two people that you're okay with dying on UTD is Ornn and Azir. And Ornn and Azir died. But a great ult from Grussel Grindset. He goes under tower, he pops the Shurima Shuffle, and then that's just it. But we got a fight going on in the red buff. Looks like B-Barrel and Hugiri Lee are going to try to get it, and they do secure it. They're going to back off. You know, that's +1 red buff.
Right, Sedge is not going to have anywhere near enough pressure on her own to try and zone those out for herself. So she'll just sit back here. This could be probably another tower for Aquinas' end. And now we got 2 towers to 1 there. Gold lead finally properly swinging in UT Dallas' favor, though. After that last fight, we have a jump in here from Sejuani on to Sivir. Looking to pick something up here. She's going to be kiting. Big stun. We do have the Lulu ult, and now Sejuani tries to disengage, and Graves is here. Vi is not going to try to help this one out. That's not looking too good.
Yeah, I mean, the pop of the Sivir ult was just crazy good there. I mean, the kite is just unreal. I mean, she got the spell shield, she has the ult. They have all the defensive utility from Lulu. Sedge kind of just got hard baited there. I mean, there's nothing more to it. She was not able to do much there.
Very hard greeting for the potential Sivir kill. I get it. You know, Sivir is a high-profile champ on the enemy team. You want to be looking for this, you know, effectively one of the win conditions. And if you can try and shut that down in whatever way you can, pick up some gold for yourself, that'd be great. But I mean, she's 0-4 right now. 0-3 back then. That's still a tough fight to take.
Yeah, very tough for the Sejuani. But we have drag coming up in about a minute, and Ornn just took the top tower, so he's probably going to be backing just in time. But Sejuani is rotating top. Now, they do have the Unleashed teleport, but neither of them actually has it up. So this drag comes down to who is actually there. The teleports aren't going to be able to impact it much. So, yeah, we see the Ornn rotating down. And in the top side, I mean, the top tower was already taken for Aquinas. So Sejuani doesn't really have much upside of being there other than soaking up some XP. So we're probably going to see the Sedge rotating down. Yeah, she's starting to rotate down. But it might be too late. I mean, the Vizon red buff, they might be conceding this dragon, which is a very interesting choice. I think that, you know, Graves and Sivir are huge, but I don't think that this is like a completely unwinnable team fight. I mean, you have all your ultimates on the side of Aquinas. You have your flash on your carries. So I think it's, you know, maybe they get the tier 2 here. We'll have to see if this
this
becomes
seems like a
gold
trade for a tier 2 for drag, or at least pushing up to tier 2 and letting the wave crash there, potentially moving up towards this Herald instead. So they're opt for much more tower pressure. We did see from Aquinas' side before that crazy Azir split push. They might be trying to replicate something like that. Pop that Herald up top, take out that tier 2. We do have Ornn and Yoshimi go back top to clear out that wave as UTD is going to pick up the rest of Dragon. Now they're coming mid. They're here for this tower.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to note, last game, the Aquinas ADC got super duper fed to the point where he kind of was able to shut down or at least match the pressure of Sivir, or Deathly. But this game, Deathly is far ahead, very far ahead of the Jinx. So he's actually able to create a lot more pressure. So the gold difference is only 2,000, which is, you know, 400 per person. Neither here nor there. It's good, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. It's almost negligible. But what's really important is that it's definitely that this gold is on. Definitely in B-Barrel. So they're not able to, like, the 2,000 is actually, in this case, very important. But we're going to have to see how this comes up. But also, I was wrong. Graves did not go Umbral. He went Eclipse. So he's not going for the vision. He is going for the percentage health damage. So Eclipse and Black Cleaver do a lot in sort of reducing that armor. So he's going to be
tearing through tanks.
Yeah, tearing through tanks, but also tearing through specifically Vi. We got a fight going on.
Yeah,
he's going to pop the spell shield and run away just a bit, but he's
these guys fought their way into Dragon Pit. We had Lulu try and catch the rebound on that. And now rest of Aquinas' team is here. They have a 4v4 that they're not willing to take, and UTD is going to path back towards mid, probably trying to pick off this tower.
Yeah, they're looking to sort of get these objectives worn down a bit. And UTD, I like, is playing a lot more objective-focused this game, where the last times they were just focusing on lane advantages and trying to win that way. But here we see that Sivir's actually trying to push in with Ornn to try to at least put pressure on the tier 2.
Ooh, there's a big Sedge ult into the knockout. We have a Sivir. She's going to flash out. And now Ornn's taking way too much damage. Lulu's here to support, but Aquinas is trying to fight their way in. We have a flash in from behind from Syndra, trying to pick up the Sivir. Finally, she's going to go down. We have a red side TP from the Azir to maybe try and neutralize this fight, but UTD is going to disengage at this point. Vi's going to fight her way out too. Yoshi was taking too much. That was well executed there from Aquinas to pick off that Sivir. Finally hand her first death.
Yeah, and picking up that Sivir shutdown, I'm not entirely sure who it went on. I think it was the Syndra, but I mean, big for Syndra, very not big for Sivir.
Right.
But if we look at the gold, Sivir's still up 1,000 gold, and the mid lane is 2,000 gold.
Yeah, it is over 2,000 gold. The mid lane difference is absolutely massive with kill participation and farming. Throughout that mid lane, that mid has been a bit rough for Grussel Grindset. Still feel like Azir is not out of the game by any means. That's a character that can stick around, but that it has been rough so far.
Yeah, and I'd like to see this Graves see what he can do, because this 2 items looks very scary on Graves. He's also got that Caulfield's Warhammer, so he does have a considerable amount of cooldown reduction. So he's going to be pumping out those Qs, and he's going to be doing just a bunch of damage. And he's going to be trying to shred this Vi. Every time the Vi goes in, I think that his goal is to just, auto E, auto Q, and that guy's hopefully at like 2%, and then 1 auto from Sivir can knock that guy down. Last fight it didn't really happen because the engage was from Sejuani, but still, he got knocked down.
Surprise right here. Ooh, potential catcher on top side. Just trying to get a lot of tier 2 pressure here. They're not quite going to be diving at Sejuani without any tanks to help that one out with. But they are trying to path towards top here, potentially create a play around Baron, like by baiting it, not necessarily trying to go for it.
Yeah, and UTD is in a fine position here. They're up a drag in a game where they do want to scale. So I think they're just trying to, at this point, mitigate any damage that they might have done with that last play. Make sure the vision line is strong where they're not giving up too much. Keeping control over this Baron, because we do have drag coming up in 40 seconds. And we do see a ping from Azir going to bot side. I think he's just going to try to walk down there, push out the wave, get some more prio. I don't know if they have vision on Karma backing. They did. They had vision on Karma backing. So UTD is going to shade towards that bot side. Karma is still going to back, so UTD might have a chance to just rush it since there's no Hex gates. Karma is going to be a little bit late to this. But we do see... Okay, he's not actually going to back, but UTD might be looking for this, but maybe not.
Syndra's up top. I feel like Aquinas is again willing to give this one up and try to have a lot more map pressure in exchange. We have the top lane split push again here from Syndra. As we'd seen last time, the UT tried to go for Dragon 2, but they also had a Herald to play around that back then as well, which this time they don't. UT might want to shove out mid super hard, potentially pick off a tier 2. Ooh, there's an Ornn ult. This could be a hard engage. Ornn ult's going to whiff. And no one is going to get picked off here. There's big damage onto the turret. Ornn's going to dash out of the primary stun of Sedge ult and be effectively unscathed. Jinx is going to throw out her ult when no one is in kill range at all, while Graves is picking up the soul point.
Yeah, they sent Graves to take Dragon by himself, which I really like, but we might have a fight breaking out in the mid lane here, or they're just posturing. You could see that range on that Syndra E was crazy. I haven't actually seen that in game. That was a lot. That was very wide. So it didn't hit anyone that time, but I mean, you can see that now she's at least at 80 stacks. So she's very close to that, unleashing that next level of her ultimate, which once again does execute at 15% max health. So that's going to be really, really impactful onto like Ornn. And she is going a burn build here, a Magic Pen burn build. So she has already picked up the Liandry's, which does a lot of burn, and the Shadow Flame, which gives her a lot of Magic Pen. And you can see that she has the... we have a fight going on.
Ooh, yeah, Vi's going to try ult Graves, but he's already going to dash under tower. Graves still takes a lot. There's the Azir. Oh, we have a red side TP with Ornn. So much red side damage here, but they're not afraid whatsoever. Lulu and Ornn are pulling up Sivir is in the area, and we have Orange just taking out this front line as much as he can by himself. But Azir and Graves are so low. There's a dash in from Sejuani to be able to kill off Graves. Huge shutdown there. 800 gold. We're going to have a disengage from Yoshiwi. This is pretty big for the Aquinas college team here.
Yeah, UTD managing to scrape their way out of that without getting completely aced. Very, very, very close.
Well,
and
they're looking
now
to take a Baron here.
Yeah.
They are trying to rush this Baron as rest of UTD backs.
Yeah, it looks like Lulu and Sivir are going to cancel their backs. Maybe they have vision. Maybe they just want to stop this tier 2 push. Yeah, they're not going to even try. I mean, that's just way too tough to try to contest. Azir's going to look up for vision. Maybe he's going to get caught. Maybe he's going to get vision. We shall see. They popped the vision plant, but...
Ooh, Sivir is down. Syndra's able to catch her out. And now, even though the rest of the Aquinas College team is really low, they're going to walk away with, seems like, as many Barons as they can have.
Yeah, and very importantly, Graves dropped his shutdown. He died to that Sejuani and gave that Sej a lot of money. And we saw a while ago, Sej was really far back in gold. She was 0-4. Now she's a little bit ahead of Ornn, which is huge because now she's actually going to be able to tank a lot more. We saw Ornn was 1v3ing there, just unable to be killed. And now Sejuani might be able to join the elite class of Golem. And then Syndra here has also a 4,000 gold lead, which is nothing to be scoffed at. And once she gets that, I was saying that she had the needlessly large rod, which since she built the Shadow Flame, means that she's going to be building Rabadons. Right when she gets that Rabadons, she's gonna also be probably getting her Splinter to upgrade her ultimate ability. So she's just gonna be huge. She's going to be doing like a absurd amount of damage. I'm sure 1Q will probably do like a quarter to a half of Sivir's health bar.
Wow. Yeah, using that Baron buff to push out an advantage here in mid lane, gets the tier 2 as well. Trying to walk up to this bot lane tier 2, but UTD is not going to take any of it. There's a hard Ord engage, doesn't quite land anything too big on. We have the Vi ult in response. Grosso Grindset is going to go down, but not before getting a 0 ult out in response, and Graves is going to take down Vi, but Sivir's going to fall here to Syndra. Huge AoE damage here from Syndra. Most of blue side still alive here as this tier 2 is about to go down, and they're going to try to keep applying pressure to this inhib tower on the bot side. Doesn't seem like UTD can do much to engage right back in. They only have Ornn Graves for big frontliners and any sort of damage whatsoever. They have both Sivir and Azir down. They really just have to let this go, and this inhib is also going to fall. There's a lot that Aquinas got out of that one.
Yeah, and I think that there was something that I saw that fight that was very tragic, where the Lulu ult went on to Grussel Grindset at just the wrong time, to where that the Vi didn't get knocked up. She was still in her ultimate animation. Ooh. So it didn't CC the Vi at all. It just buffed up. I mean, it kept Grussel Grindset alive for a little bit longer, but it didn't give UTD the real advantage that it usually gives the wild growth, which is the Lulu ult.
Yeah.
So very unfortunate there, but we are starting to see some of the ornaments coming out. You can see that the Kraken Slayer has now been upgraded for Sivir, so that might be a thing going forward, where we're starting to get some more of these upgraded items. So that upgraded Leandries does a lot of extra burn for Ornn. So these fights are lasting a long time because of the top laners. They're just living forever, and I think that the extra burn and the extra damage will really help whittle down that Sejuani. I mean, she's just been alive. I mean, she got that shutdown, and now she has a shutdown.
Yep. That was huge for Sejuani too. Sejuani's been, even with that rough start earlier where she was like 0-4-3, now she's still able to have such a team fight presence. No longer is she dying. Now is she applying so much more pressure and throwing herself into the middle of the fight and just get as much CC out as she can. And it's like now she's like a very playable character. Even despite how much you tried putting her down earlier, she's got, her role is still to be fulfilled, and it's not like kind of the Tom Kench before she's getting bursted down. She's still up in there and still surviving these fights. Yeah,
and man, this Syndra is online. She's online. I mean, she's getting this Void Staff next. I mean, this makes me want to go home and play Syndra. I just want to be this strong. I mean, this new rework makes her seem just insane. I mean, so much extra damage put into her kit. I mean, she's got that 15% extra. I mean, she has Rabadons, and she has an extra 15% on top of that bonus 35%. So she's just huge. I mean, she's also flame horizoning the Azir. She's up, I mean, almost. We got like 4 more CS, but you know, she's up 96 CS.
There's the 100.
There's the 100.
Well,
I would be clapping, but I'm a UTD caster. I'm a little bit sad.
That's fair. That's fair. Even on the bot side, it doesn't feel like Jinx is too horribly far behind, right? Only 30 CS and 2 kills and 1 assist. So the game is still very much, in terms of damage dealing output from Aquinas' side, very much in there. They do have kill deficit, but with all the objectives they've taken, double the towers, right? Finally clipped that last Dragon too and got the Heralds beforehand and the Baron. They do have a sizable gold lead at this point, especially if you consider where the gold's been distributed to among Aquinas' members. So now that Sejuani is starting getting back into the loop of things, right? You still have Vi getting the single target lockdown, and then of course everything that Syndra has to offer and bring to the table is ridiculous. Coupling that with Karma's assist and Jinx's presence as well. There's a lot that Aquinas has going for them.
Oh, they're gonna flash forward, pop the vial.
There's a big engage there from Vial too. We have the Sedge ult as well. Jump in here from Ornn. He's taking way too much damage. Great stun there from Syndra. We have the ult from Lulu to try to protect Azir, but Sivir's gonna go down, and as is Azir. Ornn is barely alive. These team fights are so rough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Sivir's supposed to play these team fights. I mean, she was like full HP, and I think she just got maybe QW'd, maybe just Q from Sivir, and she went from like 90% to 0 to back in the gray screen to the 1920s watching a movie. I mean, she went from everything to nothing very quickly. It was, I don't know. I mean, she has to get close to try to proc her W, but as soon as she gets close, she literally gets exploded.
Right. I think it's huge that Vi has a team that's much more capable of following up after her ult. That changes like the entire presence of Vi. Early we saw Vi go in and just die as like a moth on her own. Right here, UT is trying to see if they can clean up whatever they can at the end here. Ornn's gonna get a big knock-up.
I mean, this
but
is
no one's gonna
scary.
go down. Oh, look at the health there on Lulu after that stun. A couple of more minion attacks too, and Lulu's actually go down. But there was enough stall for Sivir to come back up. And Aquinas is not able to close out the game here. I really thought we were looking at an end almost. But yeah, the thing about Vi here is now that Sedge is in too, and now that we have these like long-range stuns with the QEs from Syndra as well, it seems like there's so much more presence that Vi's team has to offer to actually help out and go in compared to before we saw Vi going super deep on Varus and then nothing would happen after.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Abyssal Mask being picked up, which is an item I haven't seen in a long time, and I mean, I think you know, it does offer a lot of MR, but I think that the new Abyssal Mask, the one we're going to see in the preseason, is a little bit different. But I'm going to cut myself off because we have a Baron getting taken for Aquinas here, and that Baron is super duper scary because they have 2 lanes of super minions pushed, and they're just going to completely zone UTD off this, and they're gonna pick it up. So they're going to have a lot of push pressure here
at this point. You could be seeing Aquinas looking to end here. Doesn't really seem like UTD is already in that position to be winning team fights at all. It seems like every engage has been a little unfortunate. We've been seeing a lot of Ornn ult whiffs and nothing too crazy to come out of Ornn ult. And beyond that, they don't really have a heavy engage, right? Azir has to take a huge risk to try and hop in the backline and just go for the Shurima shuffle. It's really Ornn is a reliable engage. But meanwhile, Sejuani can sit back and just throw an ult, right? Even Syndra can just pop a stun, right?
Yeah.
Just a QE. Keep it simple. Of course, you have Vi always initiating these fights. Find a pick, go for that ult. It's really difficult for UT to actually try and take a team fight now.
Yeah, and now Vi's got that Guardian Angel up, so you know she can dive in, die, and then get resurrected. So she's also going to be able to, you know, force her hand and, you know, dive in and die, and hopefully, you know, that gives her team enough time. I mean, it should give Syndra enough time to just melt people.
Right. Although Vi's honestly been fine compared to what we've seen before with Vi play in terms of the run in and die. Vi has been able to live a fair bit more of these opportunities after getting those ult picks because the rest of the team is always there to engage. And now we have Aquinas' side also on soul point at this point because UTD is way too scared to challenge either of these recent dragons. They've been behind in these team fights ever since, and now their gold lead is pushing to be about over 6K. And now they're walking into the base here, just getting poked out with Jinx W. You have the Syndra QEs. Azir can only do so much with the soldiers to try and run this back. But we have the Ornn ult popping again. gonna whiff again. Syndra's still up in the front line. We have the Ornn knockup, and Sejuani is taking a lot of damage, doesn't quite re-engage. It doesn't seem like Aquinas is given a lot of resources to hard engage back. They've just been surviving that fight.
Yeah.
All they're really trying to do is last here and take down these towers as much as they can. A lot of damage being taken here by Vi, but she does have the Guardian Angel up. Sejuani still relatively healthy. Ooh, we have a jump in there. Shurima Shuffle there from Azir. He's going to get bursted down, but not before getting 2 down from the opposite end. But Syndra is still alive. UTD is Ornn super, super low. It's only Lulu and Sivir up left to take the rest. She gets deleted, and she is gone. It's only Ornn. He's going to fall here to rest the team as Aquinas is going to take the Nexus for the triple kill on Syndra to close out that game. And it's going to be a 2-0 in Aquinas College's favor, taking it over UTD.
Yeah, sad day to be a UTD fan, but I mean, great day to be that champ.
That is definitely true. Also a great day for watching great sets.
Yep.
I think we saw a super exhilarating set there from UTD. Dynamic of 2 separate circuits.
Yeah.
Back to back, right? It's like UTD opens up with that game 1. Pretty solid. Pretty convincing that favor. That Felios was playing wonderfully, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, okay, wow, UTD's got a big advantage to push here, right? And so that BO1, CLoL goes to UTD, right? They're done, right? Then you're moving on to the next set already, NECC. And it's like, okay, what's Aquinas going to do to adapt? But what are the changes we to see? And suddenly we have Tom Kench getting picked off a lot. And Aquinas going to switch with the Varus Nautilus instead and make something big happen there. We have Vi ulting in from UTD side and then just getting picked off and dying, right? And on the opposite side, we had that Varus just slinging, free slinging, and Sejuani having so much pressure. Sejuani has been prevalent in all of these games, one way or another, right? Her presence is always to be felt, right? Her boar jumping in, landing those stuns, getting those ults too, because it puts her in such a safe spot, right? The thing about Ornn is he has to commit a little bit to the startup of ult and trying to crash that angle at the end. Sedge can just press R, bam.
Yeah.
Those bolas are out there and you're getting caught. There's a good chance someone's getting caught in the center hitbox of that and just mad stuns there from Sejuani. So, and then now we're moving in here to this game 3 as well, where Syndra was so strong. Azir was so far behind, but they picked the Azir off away from Aquinas, and Aquinas like, you know what, that's okay.
Yeah.
We got a Syndra in the back.
Yeah, and Syndra looked like unbelievable this game. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, she got the kill mid lane early with the roam down from Sejuani.
Yeah, which is
but
big.
She didn't like by no means was she like super far ahead in laning phase. I mean, she just played her game right. She was farming really well.
Yeah, her farm was a very significant difference, I would say, between the two. Even from early on, you'd have a 50 to 80 CS difference. Like her farm, her zoning off. After that first kill, Azir just could not play the game.
Yeah, and she just turned that into like solo carrying that game. I would like to see that Sivir damage. I mean, in the last fight, I saw her Q Graves, who has true grit, an ability that makes him not take that much damage, and he took like a crazy amount of damage, just super quickly. It was Syndra was taking over the game.
Yeah. What a fantastic set, or I guess set of sets, really. We had a 2-2, so now you can say they're 1-1 in
Yeah,
sets.
they're 1-1. They're 1-1, guys.
But, I mean, yeah, that's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. But congratulations again to Aquinas College for taking NECC set against UT Dallas, and congratulations to UTD for taking the CLoL set up against Aquinas College. Great games all around. Super exciting, super exhilarating. Super happy to see both teams with their fire in and out of each other all the time. The bot lane gameplay is all there, right? Always got to be worried about it. But mid lane really did steal the show at the end there. Fantastic stuff all around. But that's all we've got wrapped up for you guys here today. I'm Combo. If you got any feedback or if you want to talk to me, you can always hit up my Twitter handle right here is on the screen. Joined here by the wonderful Mahcks.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely a pleasure. Definitely a great time. Of course, huge shout outs to all our production staff in the back as well. Do keep your guys yourselves connected, right? Engage with the esports program. Keep up with all these matches, right? Tweet out, engage on socials, do whatever you can. Join up in LoL UTD. Go hang out there too. Whatever you can to help engage here with your esports community, because collegiate esports is awesome, and you should definitely be doing your part to help make it bigger and more impactful. So until then, we'll see you guys on the other side. Everyone, take care.